Whoa. Hello, everybody. Welcome to We Get to Play. Today, we're checking out Starfinder, which I've had a long term reading love affair with, and this will be the first time I get to run it, so I'm excited. Joining me today are Morgan, Eric, and John. Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
So, because we're all playing new characters, why don't we go around, introduce ourselves, and if you have pronouns you want to throw out there, as well as your character's name, pronouns, and who or what they are. Let's begin with John.
Oh, John. What is his name?
Wow, not prepared. Goodness.
Off to a great
Altronus,
start.
Altronus Barasul Dovenanyan of House Holder. Akasatha, four-armed, multi-tiered peak sort of alien head, very stern, heavily and smartly dressed in armor, and has a moat of light that floats around his head. Let's see here. It's a he him, and yeah,
And what world does he hail from?
from the ship-turned colony planet.
Right.
mm,
Which
the Idari.
is. Thank you. Awesome. Eric.
Yeah. Cool. So my character, his name is Keskodai. He is quite literally an ant-man. He hails from the planet of Verces. Originally grew up there and wanted to see the galaxy. Apparently went out and about, learned his thing as a priest, and then came back, married a couple of wives, and then decided he still wasn't done seeing the galaxy. So he took his kid in a jar and his insect kid in a jar. He wasn't old enough to be on his own, so I took him on the ship with me, and we went to see the galaxy, and then I let him go. And I'm apparently just decided that I'm not going home yet. So I now live on a ship here with my crew members. One of which apparently called me the galaxy's friendliest death priest. That's cool.
That's a
Totally
hell of a
fair.
title.
Right?
I will say that.
Although I heal, I do a lot of healing and stuff, so I'm a little conflicted apparently.
That's why you're so friendly.
Right? It's
And last.
okay. Hey, just die. It's fine. We're fine.
Shh. Go
You're
into the
okay.
light. Go into the.
I mean,
Shh.
if we want to talk about how to die, somebody being very comforting, I would definitely take that over the alternative, right?
That's fair.
Last
Yeah.
but not least.
Last but not least, Morgan.
Hi, I'm Morgan, she, they, and I am playing Raya, who is, a technomancer. Her basic thing is she's from Castrovel, and she's basically somebody that really likes to seek out new knowledge and experiences. She's she's obsessed with alien life forms and devours like all the information she can on them, and she's a very interesting character. I've never played a technomancer before. I'm excited to find out how this works.
Very exciting. All right. Well, as a little bit of background, we're going to be playing, or we're going to be starting our adventure on Absalom Station, which is the kind of this. It's not really the center of the solar system. That would obviously be the sun, but is definitely the center of commerce and trade. Kind of the how do I want to phrase this? It is the center of travel for sure, as there is a portal that opens next to it. For those who have seen Star Trek DS9, every time I think about it, it's Deep Space Nine there. So what am I doing? I'm trying to figure out why my chat box is not working. That's why my brain is kind of everywhere. So rather than that, I'm going to focus on the game. So the three of you are guards currently here on the station as you are, trying to make your way, trying to make a living, bring in some income. And it worked out that the three of you have gotten to know each other. And so you're off shift and you're hanging out at a little cantina, getting a drink. It's your day off, and you've noticed that a lot of people in the area that you're in are humans, they're dwarves, elves, kind of the races that there's not really all that many of throughout this solar system. But all of you have at least an understanding that those people are the remnants of a world that used to be where Absalom Station is, a world they think was called Galarion, and so the system has been named after it. And a lot of those people have begun to decorate their homes or their businesses with these like little ornaments, some sparkly ribbons and such. If you have like trees, they're referring to this time as Yule. You don't really know what this Yule is or what it celebrates, but a lot of these people that are from, descendants of Galarion have begun to do this. And as far as your own involvement, that's totally up to you whether you are a person who enjoys festivities that are not of your own species. You tell me, how much have you looked into this Yule?
Yeah, I mean, when I initially heard about it, I kept thinking, you'll do what? Like, what are you talking about? And then, as I started talking to some people, they started talking about all of the rituals that usually come along with it. The the gift giving, the gathering together in the darkest hour of the night, huddling together for warmth, but more in a more of a festival type environment than a fearful one, a joyous celebration rather than a fearful one. And I'm very interested in it, but I don't know if I would personally choose to celebrate it. It seems very commercial.
That is
Yeah,
fair.
I would say, uh, while maybe not my particular take on religion or rituals, I'm happy to just sort of enjoy and observe the celebrations around me, sipping on perhaps a Yuletide ale, along with some of the other folks, just to kind of get a taste for what it's like on their side of things. So, sure, I'll hang out.
Okay. Altronus, what's your take on Yule?
Atronus is a trained Adata one, which are scholar priests for his people, and also wise to the cycles of the birth and destruction of the cosmos. And what they are doing here, it appears to be mimicking the lights of the stars on their buildings. Perhaps they have secrets they can share about their understanding of the stars here
Nice.
for
I feel
destruction.
like you should get a roll for that or something. Let's do. I
Yeah,
need to remember all the skills, like a history check or a religion check.
history or religion. I have those things. I'm a priest. Let's see here. Well, wouldn't you believe it? I don't. All right, here we go. 17 plus 0. 17.
17. There are some like similarities in the way these lights are to some of the constellations,
Uh-oh, did
but
it
you're not
freeze?
really getting a whole bunch of meaning behind that. I feel like maybe I disappointed you.
Hello?
Uh-oh. Can you hear us?
Hey there.
His one time that he got headphones and now he can't hear us.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, wait, am I back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you here?
Ah,
Can you hear us?
okay.
Yay!
Yes.
Welcome back.
Was I like a frozen square or something? Because
No, you were moving
No,
and
we
talking.
heard you.
oh shit. Yeah, everything on my end froze, and I was like,
What the what?
what? I rolled a 17, plus 0.
Okay. Yeah, so essentially you notice like some similarities in some of the constellations with the way these lights are laid out, but you're not catching any meaning from that. It might just be coincidence.
Hmm.
But
Then they
you
do
never
not
know, so
understand.
keep your eye out.
Yes.
So as you're all sitting around
So-
and you're just starting to partake of your beverage and everything, over your communicators you get a notice that says, "We're gonna need you to come in for work today. Just you know what? Just come to the eye. You'll see. You'll understand. Just thanks." And then it goes silent.
Oh no. I think we should explore. We should find out what's going on. There's it's not every day that we get a random job like this just coming across our comms.
This was my day off, man.
Yeah.
Like, what
But
is this?
You must serve when you are called, and we have been called.
But there
I've been
might be
drinking.
holiday pay involved, so we should probably check that out just to be safe.
What
I've
is
been
this holiday
drinking.
pay?
So you get time and a half at the very least, generally. Sometimes you get like an entire day's worth of. Anyway, we should check it out for sure. There's sure to be some reward involved.
Sure. I sway down the rest of my Yule ale.
Uh-oh. Is just out of curiosity, is Eric's video being weird for anyone else,
You
or
guys
is
are
it just
frozen.
for me?
I have. It got very roboty and choppy
Okay.
when he was talking.
Maybe it's the
Interesting.
background.
I just want to make sure we had some storms earlier this week and it completely borked our power, and so I don't know if it did anything to my router. So I'm being a little gun shy when it comes to things. I'm just like, what's wrong with and we lost John.
Oh, hey. Oh, okay.
It's gonna be a tech issue kind of day, isn't it?
Weren't you just talking
Okay.
about how amazing you were with tech in the pre-show? I feel like
Tech. I'm
Yeah.
the best at tech.
The best.
Yeah, the best at tech. So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how long this holds. It's
Okay.
dropping out on the strength of the video connection. I'm not sure why.
Silly stuff. If we end up needing you to or if you need to drop your video, just go to audio. Let me know, and we'll do some switcheroo. But for now, so the three of you, quickly, if you want to finish off your drinks, or you bring your drink with you, or just leave it behind, and you start heading to the station. So Absalom Station is essentially a very large space station that is kind of built like an ice cream cone with spikes coming off of the edge. There's a picture in the chat for you all, and the image of it on screen for the viewers. And the eye is that large dome that is in the center. It is made up, or it covers, and essentially is a large breathable atmosphere area where the government buildings are. A lot of the bigger businesses are there. There's also parks, and I'll actually drop that in for you as well. Let's see. So in the eye, there are these parks that have plants growing. Very nice place to just go and hang out on your day off.
I will say the ice cream cone aspect of the space station is very enticing.
We were talking about food before the game, and I think Morgan's a little hungry now. So
Look, I'm always hungry. That's my secret.
That's fair. um, okay, and so as you head that direction, one of your recent jobs has been investigating some missing gifts from these people that celebrate Yule. Like gifts have gone missing, and so this theft that has been recurring throughout the last several days has just been something that you've been keeping an eye on, trying to figure out who the perpetrator is. And so as you walk, you see some of the people that have been missing gifts, and they just ask you if you've got any leads or whatever, and you haven't yet. And but you do notice as you get closer to the eye, there's this chill in the air that isn't usual. The environment is maintained pretty much throughout the year at a very comfortable level for most species. There are areas of the ship or of the station that are different because some species need it warmer or colder or have certain breathe stuff that they breathe that isn't oxygen, and so their areas can be poisonous to others. But as far as the eye goes, it is always safe for humans and for all of you and elves and dwarves. And it's definitely getting colder as you go on. And as you walk into the eye, there is this weird frozen powder all over the ground and on the plants and on buildings, and it's falling from the sky. Well, like where the top of the dome.
It seems like there's some sort of trouble with the environmental system. And I don't know. Hold on, let me pull up the straight. There seems to be some sort of problem with the environmental system, and I would like to try and make like some sort of technology roll.
Sure, absolutely.
In order to figure it out. Let's see here. I have computers, engineering, which
I would do engineering.
Yeah. Ooh, plus 11. So that is hold on, let me double check. That is a 12.
A 12? Wait, did you roll a 1?
Yes.
Oh no.
Yes.
You feel like you might be right, but as far as why it's doing that, no idea. Maybe somebody set it to that. Although you have not, where the engineering section is, like the environmental control area. You didn't know it had this setting.
Do you think somebody may have set this to? Do you think this is what we were supposed to find out about? The reason that they called us here? I don't know if it was intentional, but this is definitely not how it usually is around this time of year, from what I've heard.
So as you say that, go ahead.
I feel like it's some sort of sign. Like there's something going on. Perhaps something from the gods is happening. Or perhaps they have chosen to use our technology for whatever purposes. And so I don't know if that would apply to mysticism.
Oh, nice.
But
sure. Go ahead and roll that. Yeah.
And I have a plus 13 to mysticism, so that's a 29.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
I love the fact in Pathfinder and Starfinder, you can be level 4, like these characters are, and get a 29 on your roll.
I love how, I mean, like, I like big numbers. It makes me feel powerful. So
Right?
It's definitely a plus.
So with the 29 in your mysticism, there are definitely deities out there that may or may not have such kind of influence. I can't think of. I feel like it's called the Trinity. Is the robot one that would like really be able to just reach out and be like, I'm just gonna crank this knob over here and make this happen. But why that deity would do that is a good question. Maybe they're just like, we want to make the humans and dwarves and elves feel happy during this Yule time since their planet is gone. But
or you just screw with people and make them freezing cold.
right. And so as you two are like kind of thinking about this and talking amongst yourselves, you all of a sudden realize that there's a dwarf standing next to you. And Raya, you know this dwarf, and so his name is Grimwald. he looks completely content. And he has these suspenders on and he's holding them and he just looks so happy. And he looks at you and he's like, beautiful, isn't it?
Beautiful. I think it's a little cold personally. I'm used to like the warm temperatures. I don't know if I like this cold.
Oh, you get used to it. You should probably grow some hair on your body, in your face. It definitely keeps you warmer.
I'm sure it does. Personally, though, I don't think that's something that I can really do. It's a little difficult for me at this moment.
You know, my
Do you
wife
have...
has the most amazing beard, though.
Oh no, I'm sure she does. I would love to see it sometime. But
So if I'm just saying, if you feel like you need to not grow it out because of your identity or whatever, you know, it's all right. It's all right. Just embrace it.
I appreciate that. I'm curious though. Do you happen to know what's going on with the weather? Is it? I don't think it's normally like this. Last time I was here around the same time, it was a very temperate environment.
It isn't normally like this. I'm actually kind of surprised, but given the time of year, and Raya, you know Grimwald from the store that he runs, and right now he has so many of those little baubles and ornaments and things that it's obvious that he is a huge celebrant of this Yule festival, and so he's just brimming with excitement.
And like
I'm confused about what this white stuff is.
You've
I'm
never seen snow?
I'm assuming we've never seen it before, and I'm a little concerned about touching it because I just don't know what it is. So I'm going to cast Detect Affliction and see if there's
Nice.
any sort of weird stuff or something dangerous about this white powder.
Gotcha. Does detect affliction? It's just like diseases and stuff, right?
Yeah, it says determine whether a creature or object is cursed, diseased, or poisoned.
Okay. You don't get any sense that the snow is poisonous, diseased, or cursed.
All right, I think it might be safe.
And in fact, like Grimwald scoops up a big handful and crunches it together to make an orb, and he like shouts at someone and just lets it fly through the air, and the other person gets just like walloped in the side of the face, and they glare over at him, and then they start laughing, and they also do one, and they throw it,
oh no.
and they hit him in return, but like it sprays and like a little bit gets on you.
Is it time to roll initiative? I'm concerned. What's going on here?
Right? Yeah, you kind of like
Ritualistic combat.
get ready to like draw your weapons or whatever. All of a sudden, there is another person next to you. This is an elf that is your commander, actually, as far as the hierarchy of the guard goes. He's not very much above you, but like he's the one who called you to come here. I didn't think of his name. Hold on. His name is Aimer. Aimer is like, oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. They're just enjoying the snow. But obviously you see what the problem is, right? This isn't normal.
I mean, I have gathered as much. It doesn't seem like anybody really knows what's going on. It is a very coincidental and festive time of year for this type of weather to happen. Do you have any leads whatsoever? Is there anything that you've heard, Aimer?
So it just recently started within the last couple of hours, but there have been a lot of domestic issues as far as people who don't enjoy it and people who do, and like some there's been small scuffles, and so a lot of the on duty guards are busy. I just need you guys to run down to environmental, check things out, ask them nicely to turn back on the warmth, get rid of this snow. As much as I it's cool and everything, but it really doesn't belong on the in the eye. Maybe we can get them to turn it on in like a very small sector for people to go, and maybe they could set up an ice skating rink or something in that small sector. I don't know. You guys take care of it. Just let me know what happens.
I'm still not sure if this is safe. have you seen this? Apparently, this stuff can be used as a weapon.
Yeah, just don't pack it too tightly because it'll turn to ice. And then when you get hit with that, trust me. And he points to like a welt on the head, on his head. He's like, it hurts. Um, but otherwise, it's fine.
Oh,
But a lot of people are complaining. You know, a lot of the off stationers are not really used to this. Actually, no one on the station is really used to this either. Most of us haven't seen snow ever. It's just part of our mythology. Yeah, if they could turn it off, that'd be great.
I mean, I've heard of entire planets, but I've never heard that snow and are covered in ice. But I've never visited one, and I've definitely never seen one in a space station. This is
Yeah.
definitely very.
I'm not really sure
interesting.
how they even got this. And he points up, and there's like some clouds up at the top of the eye, and so it's kind of hard to see the stars beyond. And they're letting go these little falling flakes of this snow.
And I assume that we know the general direction of environmental.
Yeah,
Controls.
Asgard, you know, pretty much, you know, where generally everything is. You don't necessarily know all the specifics of where people live and stuff like that, but yeah, you know where environmental is.
Go to environmental.
Yes.
Onward.
Go.
Okay. So as you head out, environmental is down below the eye, quite a ways. It's just one of the subsections that keep the station running the way it should be. And so you head that direction. You take an elevator that heads down, and as it opens up, there's another gust of this kind of chilled air, and you notice a fine layer of snow is on the floor in front of you, and there's this like mist that just is filling the air so that you actually don't see more than maybe 10, 12. Can't remember if Starfinder uses meters or feet.
I think. Yeah.
We're going to go with feet.
I have blind sight.
Maybe like a dozen feet ahead of you. There's a very large glow. You can tell from like the lighting systems that's lighting everything up, but it actually kind of makes things worse because it just diffuses through the mist. You don't see active falling snow in here, but the fact that there is snow on the ground is weird.
Taking a cue from the dwarf earlier, thinking it would be hilarious, I'm going to use telekinetic projectile to fling a snowball at one of my companions.
So do you have to like build it first and then it flings it, or can you like scoop it
Yeah,
up with your mind powers and build the snowball first?
I mean, I could use, I guess, I've got telekinetic or psychokinetic hand that I could use to make the snowball
Nice.
and fling it.
All right.
But yeah, I'll fling it at someone and just like laugh
PvP
sort of
starts
oddly.
Who are you going to fling it at, Raya or Altronus?
Alternus.
Okay, so roll it straight. You don't have disadvantage, or you don't have advantage because
Yeah.
Altronus has blind sight.
Sorry, it was just blind fight. Blind fight, a little bit different. I misread it.
Oh, what do you have?
It's blind fight. So it's blind
Oh.
sight when blinded. Or fighting, I guess. So blind
I'm going
sight
to
when
count.
fighting.
I'll count this because it is like an incoming projectile. You get the feeling something is heading your direction.
I don't know what I add for this. Is it
What
just
is your?
reflex?
You should have like a spellcaster bonus.
I guess.
Under offense, there's melee, and it looks like it's for me at least it's a +5. For ranged, it would be a +6. So I would just go off of that personally. But unless there's a spellcasting modifier.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any stuff that's other than I've got my dexterity. I could always just add dexterity to that because it's just a thrown snowball.
You are
I rolled an
the.
8. I rolled an 8, so I probably don't hit him.
Is your AC 8 or below, Altronus?
His AC is 16.
16. So essentially, like, this hand goes over and like makes this kind of snowball. It's more like a snow clump, and then like psychokinetically you wing it at Altronus, and a lot of it just like disperses because it's like such not really great packed snow. And Altronus, you get like a little bit of that like spray that happens when you fling snow as opposed to a ball. But otherwise you don't get hit with anything.
Oh, like a socially awkward ant laugh, whatever that sounds like. Some weird insect sound. Like, think it's hilarious.
Just like
shall
chittering
commence.
noise comes out of Kessadai's
Right.
face.
So we shall commence into ritual combat in celebration of the holiday. I accept your terms. As a move action, I go into. I gain damage reduction 1. Yeah, and I've got
Yeah.
4 arms. So all 4 arms begin gathering snow and rolling them into balls. He stands into a weird 4-armed stance. I can't throw all of them at once, which is unfortunate. But I will chuck one at him.
Okay.
8.
Yeah, that's gonna miss.
Same thing. Even though you packed it, it's just not like great snow for snowballs, and so it just kind of disintegrates on the way over there.
Nice.
They make it look so easy.
You can definitely tell like the snow here is lighter and fluffier. And like the flakes are very tiny as opposed to up in the eye where it was like heavier and thicker and almost wetter. And you could tell that when Grimwald was making the snowball or the ball of snow, it packed better than this does.
Perhaps the arena is not ready.
I think we should go further down, try and figure out what's going on. Then maybe you can make some better frost balls. Frost spheres? What does anybody remember what they're called? Maybe if we adjust the weapons, yes. Maybe if we adjust the settings.
Snow weapons.
Maybe if we adjust the settings a little bit, we can make for better projectiles in the future.
Very well. We shall call for a ceasefire, but our ritual combat shall return to action once we have the proper arena.
Oh, by the way, Eric, it looks like I found ranged bonus for spells known. It looks like for me, it's 2 plus my spellcasting modifier. So I believe it's Dex plus your spellcasting modifier, just for future reference.
Nice.
Okay. Whatever my spellcasting modifier is, I'll find it on the sheet eventually.
Okay. And I don't think my brain keeps going to 5e and passive like abilities. And I don't think there are passive abilities in this. So everyone roll a perception check.
Plus 11. All right.
Perceiving.
23.
Nice.
I don't know if that's good or bad in this system.
Right?
So perception, 14.
Okay.
I am unable to find perception under my skills.
If you don't have it, I think it's just adding your wisdom.
Okay, then it would be a 12 total.
Okay. So, Kessadai, you definitely notice a distinct lack of sound. Like there are no people talking. You don't hear the movement of the workers that should be running this system. Even though it doesn't take a lot to really keep it functioning, there's usually some kind of repair going on or something. And you'd think, considering they set it this way, that they would be enjoying it or something. Maybe they have left to enjoy what they did up in the eye, but as far as somebody here, you don't hear anyone. There's also this weird kind of like muffled quality to the air, probably because of the fog or something.
Seems oddly quiet
Mm-hmm.
down here. There should be people moving about and operating equipment, and so on. I don't know about you, but I'm not detecting anything.
And would I be able to try and detect magic? See if there's anything of a magical source in this general vicinity. See if
Sure.
something is affecting things. Um, I just cast it. A 60-foot cone, magic, anything magical. I can determine one magical source is a spell, magic item, or other effect, and it's caster level.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long does it last? What's the duration?
It's concentration.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. So in your immediate vicinity, other than anything that you three might have on your persons, you don't really sense anything. Um, like even the snow and the fog and everything is probably environmental and not summoned.
Okay.
Hmm. Weird. We
He's
should proceed with caution.
Oh, were we not? I assumed that the snowball fight upstairs was being very cautious about where we were. But yes, who should take the lead?
I shall. I'll
Okay.
stride forward. And stealth.
Okay, go ahead and roll it. And just to
Moving,
clarify, Raya, are you keeping your detect magic up?
Yes, I would be as much as I could. Yeah. And it's a cone, so rather than like a radius around me entirely, it's
Okay, cool.
13 on that stealth.
13. There is like a certain crunch to your step as you move through the snow, but other than that, you're moving quite stealthily. Eric, sorry, Kessadai, are you following those two?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, not terribly stealthy.
Okay. So, Altronus, as you move through, there's like some catwalks that go over you that go to the higher levels of some of this equipment, and you notice that there are long, almost clear formations coming off of the bottom of some of the rims. They seem to be kind of conical, almost like frozen water.
Are they really like long?
Some of them, yeah.
Like long ones, or do they look sharp?
They do seem rather pointy, yes.
We should probably avoid walking underneath those.
Okay.
Yes, I will do my best to point them out to
Mhm.
the party and proceed with caution.
Okay. Yeah, so Raya and Kesakadai, you can see where he points. There's definitely these like large, strange formations. I don't feel like maybe any of you have seen icicles before. So as you move through, you're very cautious going underneath them, unless anyone chooses not to be cautious.
I am not cautious.
Okay.
I have an overwhelming curiosity about things, so
Okay.
I'm gonna let everybody else go ahead. And like when we get to one of the last ones, I'm gonna slowly lose control over my curiosity and poke at it, try to examine it with physical science, which I imagine is something just to understand it a little bit better.
Okay.
Never
So as you
seen it
poke at it, there's like a crack and it falls to the ground and shatters.
Oh, fancy. Interesting. Okay. I think I know what this is. It's not that complicated. It's just ice that's frozen water, which makes sense with how there's so much snow around us.
Yeah, you've
We
definitely
need to
seen
get to the
ice
bottom of
before.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. I've seen ice in this futuristic sci-fi setting. I've seen
Wouldn't that
ice. I know
suck?
what that is.
You go to the cantina and they're just like, here's all your warm drinks.
Oh gosh. That would be awful.
What kind of future is this?
It's a terrible future.
I mean, global warming just ran rampant.
No. All right, so Altronus, as you continue on, you can start seeing some of the equipment that runs things like the large, computer interfaces. There's no one around.
Do any of the terminals appear like they are exhibiting damage, signs of damage? Any sequences that look abnormal? Not that I would necessarily know, but maybe there's like a flashing, sign that says abnormal
Right.
warning. Will Robinson. I don't know.
Danger, Will Robinson.
Tell,
You
tell
don't
danger.
see you don't see any like flashing lights or anything that shows that there's an issue, but some of those screens that do that you're pretty sure are like interfaces do show that they are locked, like they need a code to be entered or something like that. And Raya, as you catch up with them, there is a definite presence of some kind of magic.
And would I be able to detect where the source is, whether the source is a spell, a magical item, or another effect?
It seems like it's another effect, but that it's been laying upon the control panels.
It's interesting. I be careful not to touch anything. I think there may be some kind of trap, or perhaps some sort of an effect has taken control over the environmental controls here. And do I have dispel magic? It's an interesting question. I do
While
not.
you're looking for that, Keskadai, what are you doing while they're doing these things?
Let's see. So it appears that my companion feels like there's some magical presence nearby. I don't think I can do anything to dispel any sort of magic. I also have detect magic, but they're already on that, so I will yeah. I'm not sure.
Okay. Go ahead and make me a perception check while Raya figures out if no dispelling.
I do not.
Okay.
I'm tempted to just touch things and start using computer skills in order to figure things out, but I will let you go ahead.
Does your detect magic tell you anything about the magic that you're detecting, or is it just like
it says with concentration can determine one magical source is a spell, magic item, or other effect, and it's caster level.
okay?
It's just a cantrip, so it's not terribly powerful, but
Gotcha. So it's not like the D&D version where you figure out like the school of magic and all of that stuff. Okay. Caster level is probably 8th.
oh, not spell level, caster level. Okay, I was concerned for a minute.
Right.
Yes. I was like, oh god.
And as far as it does seem like it's another effect. It's not a specific spell.
Okay, I think keep an eye out, but I'm gonna try and figure out what's going on with the computers. I'm gonna see if if this effect is some kind of magical virus or if it's something else entirely. And I would like to try and interface with the computer to determine what the effect is and like alter the environmental controls so that it becomes at least warmer in this specific environment rather than snowy.
Okay. Do you have any special ability that allows you to interface, or do you need to roll a skill check?
It would be a computer's check,
Okay.
which would be plus 14. So 7 plus 14.
Nice.
Yeah, it would
21?
be a 21. Yeah.
Okay. While that's going on, Keskadai, what did you get?
I got a 19.
A 19. And Altronus, what are you doing while they're trying to figure this out?
not touching anything.
Okay.
But I will grab my mote of light and absorb the sun into my body, and extend a blade from my hand in preparation. You must
Okay.
always be prepared.
So this like wave of warmth, which is quite comforting considering it's very cold in here, washes through your body, but then as you emanate it out into your blade, it washes away from you and you kind of have this like shiver that runs through your body. Also make me a perception check.
Perceiving. It is not as cold as the emptiness of the universe. Therefore, I am still alive. 19 plus, I believe, what, 5? Is it 5? There it is. Yes, 24.
Okay. So you notice this first, but Keskadai, you also notice as your sunblade comes out, there's a reflection of that light. It's very faint and muted because of the fog, but there's something off to your right. Maybe 15, 20 feet away. It's just obscured, and you wouldn't have noticed if it wasn't for that extra light that Eltronus is emanating.
Hmm.
Can I take
Seems
a
to
move
be
action?
Yeah, absolutely. It seems to be something laying on the ground and is not enormously large, but is maybe a few feet wide.
Hmm.
I'm going to summon dark matter to give myself damage reduction as I
Okay.
fall into a stance. But I'm not going to approach.
Okay. While you're not approaching, Raya. So suddenly Altronus drops into a defensive stance. There's light emanating from his blade, and you begin interfacing with this computer. So right away you can tell that like there's not much you can do because of the lockout. However, what did you get?
With a 21, I think
21?
it was total. Yeah.
So you definitely feel like there is a code that you need. You're not sure what that code is, but there's definitely something wrong with this. Like that magic that's infecting it definitely seems like an infection. There's something laying upon this that is similar to a virus.
And I tell the others, it seems like there's some sort of techno-magical virus on the computer, which, I can't find out more about it, but it seems like I need a code of some variety in order to access more information on this. And would I happen to know who might have that code or where I would be able to find access to it or anything like that?
You could
It's
check
not
with
like it's not like taped under the desk or anything
right. You could
with
check.
password. Okay.
You look under the desk. You don't see anything. There are some like pieces of bubble gum and stuff stuck under there, and just kind of some scuff marks where people have like probably been sitting. You don't see any chairs as far as how those scuff marks were made. Like it looks like if somebody had wheeled under there and their armor or something had rubbed against it, but you don't see any passwords. You're pretty sure Amir doesn't have it, but he might be able to get it. Really, the engineers that should be here would have it.
And I assume we have Amir's com number identification. Yeah.
Are there any signs of the people that should be here? Like footprints in the snow or anything like that?
You could make me a check, and that check would be called something. In 5th edition, it's survival. I
Think
don't.
track?
Is track on your character sheet?
Oh no, I'm just trying to remember 3-5.
Gotcha.
It would be survival.
Is it survival?
There is a survival skill. Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't look like Heskadai has survival, so just make me a wisdom check.
Okay. 14? No, wait.
14.
That's a +4. Wisdom is +4. 17.
17. Looking around, you don't see any tracks other than the ones that you and Raya and Altronus have brought in.
Weird.
Has that form moved?
That form has not moved. As you kind of like move your glow stick sword, you do notice that the light reflects off of it differently as you move it, but it's not from motion of the actual object, it's from your own motion.
I shall advance.
Okay. So as you get closer, you realize it's actually a person laying on the ground. As the fog gets, as you're moving through the fog and you can make out more details. However, this person seems to be covered in ice and is partially ice themselves, almost like their body has frozen and become ice.
Are they alive?
As you kneel down and check, there is no unfrozen part of their body to feel a pulse through. You can't like reach their skin or anything. You are pretty sure they are not alive. This is a human, and humans need oxygen to survive.
That is unfortunate. I will call the attention of my crewmates.
Okay.
To the body. And is this the end of the wall there? Is there?
No, it continues on.
I will stand watch of that end, like as it goes further down.
Okay.
And call them over to the body.
And I approach cautiously, just because, if you found something that causes you concern, I don't want to be, reckless, even if I am very curious.
Everything is a potential risk.
It's true. And I think there's a skill called like life sciences or something like that.
Gotcha.
Which would allow me to try and figure out whether or not they're alive, whether it's basically a medicine check, if
Sure.
I recall correctly.
Go ahead and roll that.
Can I assist in any way?
You could just take over entirely at this point.
I do have life science.
If you would like to roll it as well, go for it.
Okay. Hopefully I can do something better than 8 this time.
He's dead, Jim.
18.
Damn it, Jim! I'm an icicle, not a doctor.
He's dead, Jim.
So Raya and Keskadai, you both like kneel down, and I mean Raya, you're pretty sure they're dead.
Oh yeah. Of course.
Keskadai, you're like they're definitely dead, and you notice that there are actually puncture marks on the body underneath the ice, almost like the ice has formed over. They're fairly large and they're in pairs.
Oh, interesting. Ice vampires.
I have heard of creatures like that can turn you to stone, but I've never heard of anything that can turn you to ice like this.
Do the puncture marks look like something similar to perhaps my mandibles, or maybe not so much from the side, but from the front, or like fangs?
You would feel more like fangs as opposed to your mandibles.
Ooh. Fangs. Interesting. That means there's perhaps a creature nearby. And I will unholster my Thunderstrike sonic pistol. Just in case this creature is still around, I do not want to be its next victim.
Oh, definitely. I'll do the same. I'll follow your lead. Just, step back and draw my pistol as well.
Okay. Altronus, what are you doing?
Looks like they're arming themselves, and so silently, I take this as a sign to advance. and I advance.
Okay. Are you heading further on in that direction, or are you going back the way you came from?
Further on in the direction, pressing forward.
Okay.
This is probably a drive-by icicling. So whatever our quarry is must be further down the corridor.
Okay.
And so
Go ahead and make me a perception check.
perceiving 8.
8. Amazing.
So perceptive.
Okay. So while I'm doing this, everyone go ahead and roll for initiative.
Rah!
You'll never guess what I got.
Is it a 1?
I mean, I've already rolled 2, but this time it was a 15.
Okay.
So 17 total. Yeah.
17. Okay. And Altronus?
Sorry, that's 18.
18.
11.
And 11.
I'm too busy doing like Charlie's Angels poses with my pistol.
Okay. So as Altronus is moving their way down. Dun 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 dun. Sorry, hold on one second. Does a 19 hit you? Altronus. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So the others notice this as you're walking under it. One of those icicles breaks off. It's like high up on the catwalk. It breaks off and falls down. But Raya and Keskadai, you realize it's not shaped quite like an ice cream cone, you know, like that conish shape. It's more serpentine as it falls upon Altronus, and it bites into
Ah,
his neck area. You
Oh,
are
dear.
going to take, as soon as I find one, 2 points of piercing and 4 cold.
4 cold.
Now, do you have any immunities or resistances to cold there, Altronus?
Too cold. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
So that warmth that you felt when you pulled that stone into yourself, or that mote of light, just like none of it is left as blue spreads through your veins. Like the others can see this. It's almost like this hardening of your skin and your veins as cold just pushes its way through your body. That brings it to your turn. What do you do?
Okay, so I took 6 points of damage, right?
Correct.
Okay. Cool. But no other effects, right?
Cool. No other effects.
Perfect. All right. So, first round of combat. I'm going to become photon attuned, which gains me a point of attunement.
Oh, you
which
were
means
resistant from that thing you did earlier.
I did DR1.
Okay, so you're going to take back one of those points that you lost.
Okay. Let's see here. As a move action, because I'm now attuned, I will have DR2.
Nice.
And let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. I get a bonus to damage. Awesome. Now, in Starfinder, the move action is in place of moving, correct?
Yes, I see what you mean. Yes.
Okay.
So because you used
so
it to do that special thing, you wouldn't be able to
Yep.
run off, right?
Yeah, so I'm.
Although
I guess
you
I'm
can use your
powering
action
up.
to move.
Use my actions move. Is this thing attached to me?
Well, it's currently like on you. It's not grappling you or anything.
Okay. I am going to stab it in the face. Just kind of do a little swipey swipe with my arm
Okay.
here. So that will give me a stop scrolling. Oh, there we go. Okay, +7. Here we go. 24.
A 24 will strike this thing. You can't even quite see it, but you know it's right there. You just...
All right, so that will do 3 and 3 is 6 plus 6 is 12 plus 1 because of the photon, so it's 13. Math finder.
13.
13.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is with the blade that you summoned?
Yep.
So the Raya and Keskadai, you can see as Altronus like flips the blade around and stabs it backward over his shoulder, and it almost seems to just carve through the ice. Does it just do what kind of damage does it do?
It's slashing. I
Okay.
can use a move action to while I'm in my stance to cause all of it to do fire damage.
Gotcha. But since you did that, right?
I used my DR2 instead.
Okay. So yeah, it just seems to carve through the snake form, almost like a hot knife through butter. But it's still moving. So Ryo, what do you do?
Okay, so I assume this creature is still at a far enough away that I can use my Thunderstrike sonic pistol on it.
Gotcha, without getting disadvantage.
Yeah, and I'm going to do
Correct.
that, but I'm also going to use my move action in order to empower my weapon, which
Nice.
if I expand a spell slot, I get a bonus of 1d6 per damage level, which
Nice.
is not, or per spell level, rather. So that is a 14 plus 6 plus, so 22 to hit.
Yeah, that absolutely hits.
Okay, so that would be 1d8, so that's 7 plus 8. 11, 13. Yes, so that would be 13 damage.
Starfinder, where everyone learns math.
Look, I failed math several times. This may be the worst game for me to actually play.
You're doing great. Is that everything?
That is my move action,
Okay.
and my main action. So that would be everything at this point. Yes.
And what kind of damage was that?
That would be Sonic.
Yeah. So it just blasts like this huge chunk of the snake form off, but it seems to keep moving, almost like it doesn't have vital organs or something. It's just like this formation of ice. Keskadai.
There is one more potential effect, mind you. There is a DC 14 check, I imagine fortitude, in order to avoid being deafened, which, well... Oh, no, wait, that's a critical hit. Never mind.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, so Keskadai,
Mm-hmm.
what do you do?
How damaged does this creature appear to be at this point?
I mean, visually, that messed it up pretty badly.
I'm just wondering, like, how damaged this thing is compared to what it started with. But since I did have my pistol out, I will attempt to shoot it with my sonic pistol. So that will be a 20.
Nice. That hits.
Okay. And that is a whopping D8. Oh, really? 3 points damage.
I mean, everything helps. Right?
It's true. And like, a bit of it blasts off. It's just to the point where there's not much of it left that it was harder to like really do it much damage. Gotcha. That's what we'll go with. So, yeah. Altronus, more of that cold feeling pushes its way through your veins and through your body. You're going to take 1 point of cold damage. Does your DR reduce cold, or is it just physical damage?
It's DR dash. So I can't remember if that's just catch all DR or if that's BSP question mark.
For now, we're going to go with it's a catch-all.
Sweet.
If I'm wrong, someone can point it out in chat, or you can laugh at us later if you're watching this on YouTube. But yeah, you can feel the cold, but it doesn't really do you any damage.
Excellent.
Cascade, I need you to make me a perception check.
16.
16. All right. So does a 22 hit Cascade?
Possibly.
So you hear this like almost slithering but kind of like raspy grating noise as well, and you happen to glance over as one of these ice serpents slithers out from under a control panel and bites your leg.
Ah!
You're going to take 5 piercing and 3 cold, so a total of 8 if you don't have any resistances. And that same sensation just starts creeping up your leg, where there's like this intense cold that just permeates through your veins. And you can, I think, it's harder to tell with you because you're kind of like, you have a chitin and such.
That comes out of stamina points first, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And Altronus, you already took
So I
that.
didn't notice because like ants are cold-blooded, right? Like, do they
That's
even?
a good question, right? That's a really good question. I would say you'd feel the pain.
Sure.
Atronus does a 23 hits you, right?
23?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So that is 7 piercing.
All right. So minus 2 would be 5.
And then 3 cold.
Okay, that 8. So.
So the remnants of the one that's kind of like on you drops to the ground and then bites your leg. And it's your turn.
That was a mistake. So there's 2 of them now. There's one at my feet, and then there's one next to Ant-Man.
Correct.
All right. Well, the one next to my feet is just going to die. I think I'm just going to stab it. All right. And that is a plus what? 15. Does a 15 hit?
A 15 does not hit it.
What?
It just slithers off to the side.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, then, as a move action, I'll give myself damage resistance 2.
Okay. Is this something you have to like reset every turn?
Yeah, it lasts a round. So.
Gotcha.
I assume at the start of my turn it drops.
That makes sense.
So I'll re-up my defense.
Okay. All right. Which brings us to Raya.
Okay, and just to clarify, there are 2 creatures now?
Correct. One is laying on the ground next to Altronus, and the other one has slithered up and just bit Cascade.
Okay. I am going to use Magic Missile, because that is the best option I have at this particular moment.
Nice.
2 missiles of magical energy, automatically hit 1d4 plus 1 basic. I'm going to use it as a full action, so I end up firing 3 missiles.
Okay.
I'm going to shoot 1 at the least damaged one and 2 at the other.
Okay. So let's roll the...
Reverse that.
Okay, so roll the one that is most damage, which is the one attacking Altronus. Roll that damage first.
That's 4.
4. Okay.
8, 5. Oh my god. And then it's 10 to the least damaged one, which is amazing. Okay.
Wow.
So there's not much left of the one that's been attacking Eltronus, but it's still kind of slithering around. A large chunk of the one that bit Keskadai also blows off, but it is still moving. Anything else?
Nope, that's my full action.
Okay. So Keskadai,
Yeah.
that feeling is like creeping its way up your leg,
Uh-huh.
very discomforting. And there are 2 punctures in your leg that remind you very much of those punctures that you saw on the bodies of those people that or on the body that you saw on the ground behind you.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you do?
Do I take any additional cold damage?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Cool. I sort of freak out a little bit and almost reflexively turn at this thing that bit me and cast Mind Thrust at it. Level 2, it needs to make a will save, DC 17.
It is going to make your will save.
Well, he still takes half damage, so.
Okay.
Man.
And this is the one that bit you?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see here. Come on, roll high, roll high. 11 points of damage.
So it takes half of that?
No, that would be half.
That would be half? Okay.
Yeah, I rolled 22 points.
So it seems like almost like it does. Oh, actually, is that psychic damage?
It doesn't specify.
Okay. No,
But-
that's right. It doesn't have.
It probably is.
It doesn't have anything against that anyway. So yeah, you like think real hard at it, and it actually cracks along its length, and little pieces of it fall off.
Yeah.
Anything
Okay.
else?
How hurt does my companion look ahead of me?
He has been seen in worse shape.
Okay.
Um,
Probably okay-ish for now.
on a scratch,
Okay.
Just a flesh wound.
just
You know,
a
you'll
flesh
be, you'll be
wound.
fine.
As he throws his leg at you.
I'll chitter at the one that's attacking me, cursing at it in ant language.
Okay. Okay. What, sassy pants?
Uh-oh.
Someone's being a sass. Can you hear her?
I
little bit.
can't, but if
Okay.
you pay attention to the Discord, I posted a very, very adorable picture of my companion here. So.
Excellent.
Sorry,
so
another
cute.
one. Another one.
Another one.
So cute.
Okay, so at this point, Keskadai, you're going to take 1 point of cold damage as it begins to work its way up your leg. And Altronus, you have your DR2. So you can feel the cold moving through your body, but your reduction takes care of it.
The void cannot take me.
That's right. Altronus, what do you do?
Is there a way, as I absorb yet another point of my photons, as I gather photons into
Right.
my body, is there a way that I can position myself to where these 2 little cheeky bastards are within 10 feet of me, but the companions are not?
No.
Is there a way to do it where only one of them 10 feet?
Yes.
Well, I mean, like, one of the companions can get both of these little bastards within 10 feet of me.
Yes. So you would definitely hit Keskadai with an
Sacrifices.
area of effect.
We must let the cosmos take control, and I will supernova. Kaboom! So that would be a yay! DC 13 reflex for half of 5d6 points of fire damage.
Okay, go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay, that's 6, 12, 14. 16 points of fire. Boom.
All right. So what happens? How do you do this?
Well, I mean, I'm letting the cosmos clearly take control of the situation, gathering in more photons into my body before completely unleashing everything within 10 feet of me with violent photon-driven supernova.
Okay.
Just obliterate everything within 10 feet.
So what kind of save was it? Sorry.
Reflex.
Reflex. So Kes, could I make a reflex real quick?
Uh-oh.
He
You'll be fine.
he included you in it. Sorry.
Oh. That'd be me. Okay, I should roll.
Asteroids collide in space all the time. It is
That's
part of the cosmic
gonna
field.
be a 19.
Okay, so you take half, right? And,
So
and how much was it?
be 13 total. So
Okay.
was it 13?
14, I think.
Yeah, 16. Sorry, it was 16. So it'd be
16.
8. It'd be 8.
Okay. So as
You're
this
fine.
cosmic radiation washes out from Eltronis, there's definitely like this flare of light, and both of the snake-like figures just crumble, and then like liquid ice or liquid water just like flies apart. One part of Keskadai has a slightly red tinge on your chitin, but otherwise you're fine. However, Keskadai, make a Constitution, so that would be a fort save.
10.
10, okay. And now Tronus, also make me a fort save.
Fortitude. It's 14 plus something. Do I have a thing? Where would it say? There's fortitude. It's plus 5, so it'll be 19.
Okay. So Altronus, as you like pull this warmth into your body and then blast it out, you manage to like kind of use it to stop that cold that's creeping through your body. Keskadai, the amount that of heat that hit you wasn't quite enough to stop it. So you feel you're gonna take 6 more cold damage as it continues to work its way through your body. We're off of initiative. What do you all do as you notice that there's parts of his limbs that are kind of becoming icy?
Fire is the answer. If you stand still, I shall take care of the problem.
Jonas, I don't think that's the best idea. I mean, obviously we don't know for sure, but
It is effective, and it does cleanse everything.
can I try and I'm looking at the healing page right now. Sorry. Healing naturally.
I've got a healing channel. I can heal myself.
Okay.
Doctor, heal thyself.
And if I restore hit points, that doesn't fill my stamina points, does it?
You can heal resolve points, hit points. I don't believe so. I'm not
I
sure.
know it says you can spend resolve points to regain stamina points. 10 minutes of uninterrupted rest. Okay. So apparently I can spend resolve points, which I have 6, to restore stamina points. I don't know offhand how many points that restores. If all of them or some of them or
That is a good question.
resolve points.
Recover hit points equal to half your level, or half your total hit points rounded down during a 10-minute rest. Rouse yourself from unconsciousness. I am not finding the stamina point stuff.
There's somewhere.
You know, who'd have thought that playing a new system every week would lead to some level of confusion?
I
Yes,
do
if
have
you're-
some inferior technology that perhaps would assist you as well.
Right.
but I must insist on using fire to cleanse the disease.
I mean, we might be running out of time. If fire's the only way to cure it.
I will hand over a med pack to the good Ant-Man. Perhaps you know how to use this.
Okay. I could do that. Healer. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm finding stuff on resolve points and hit points, but of course not stamina points. Yeah, I mean, I can do that for now. I can use the med pack if that will at least string me along for the time being.
It treats disease and assists with long-term stability, although you would need to be dying, I believe, for that. If you do not get this treated, you will, of course, be in that state.
I hope
So
I'm not
either
dying.
way, it will perform its duty.
Yeah.
As far as your stamina points go, you spend one resolve point and take 10 minutes of uninterrupted rest, and you gain all of your stamina points back.
Cool.
Or you gain all of them back after an 8-hour rest.
The problem, though, is if this continues hitting me, then that's not really going to be sufficient.
Yeah,
So
it's a problem.
I'm willing to attempt your fire solution if you feel that that's the best route.
It is the most effective route.
Then you do what you need to do, and I will figure the rest out.
First, let us use this inferior technology. Perhaps there is something to be learned in applying lesser means. I'll
So
try and apply it to him for 21.
So what does it do?
So the med pack does med patch. Excuse me. The med patch performs first aid, long-term stability, treat disease, or treat drugs or poison. Is it any of those things?
It is not.
Ooh.
Very well, fire.
Can I try and figure out what the actual condition is? With a like a medicine check or something like that before we, like you're not losing any hit points.
I
You
have
do
been.
notice. Yeah, you do notice it is spreading.
Okay, we got to be quick about it then. Oh God, I lost everything. Oh no. Oh no. There we go. Okay. 24. Or wait. Yes. 27. Life science in order to try and figure out what the condition is.
Okay. So you feel like the continued exposure to cold and Keskadai not being warmed is allowing this condition to continue to spread. So if you can warm him somehow or otherwise remove him from the cold.
Quick. Fire.
Very well.
Not on him. On in his general vicinity. We need to get him out of here and get him warm. It's what's causing this condition.
Unfortunately, I cannot do that. There is only the delivery of salvation through chaos.
Keskadai, it spreads a bit more, and you take 1 point of cold damage.
Oh,
I will
do something.
It's
use
been
a
nice
move
knowing
action.
you, Keskadai. We'll have to use fire, unfortunately. It's either fire or ice.
Going to let me stab him where his wound is.
Okay.
Not going to try and actually do a whole lot of damage there. I just want to do fire damage. So my weapon gets enveloped in plasma as my move action, and I'm just gonna.
Okay,
Stick it
Keskadai,
on in
are you going to
there.
allow this, or are you trying to stay out of the way of him stabbing you?
I will grit my mandibles and let him do what he needs to do.
Okay,
Work for
go
me.
ahead
I'm sure
and
it's fine.
roll your damage, Altronus.
All right. The damage. And this is all fire. So it's a D6 and a D3. 5, 3, 8 plus 6 is 14.
So not
14
quite
points
max
of fire.
damage, but close.
No, I mean, well, yeah. I mean, I could do more if I had, my focus up and was in a certain stance.
There you go.
But for now, I'm just trying to uh, you know how like you cauterize a wound, just kind
Yeah.
of like that. I'm just gonna
So
get up on in there
Keskadai,
and see if I can.
as he holds his blade on you and kind of works it into the wound, you definitely feel the warmth spread through your body. It's almost like it follows those same lines that the ice has been creating, and there's just like this weird chill and then warmth as the effect fades. So you take those 14 fire damage, but you are no longer taking persistent cold damage.
Okay, all right. I
The
feel
universe, the universe is pain.
And
yeah, feel better.
your carapace has this really weird scar on it now. Like that's probably not going to go away.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna spend one of my resolve points to heal myself. Now if I heal, I've lost hit points at this point.
Gotcha.
So if I heal more than the hit points that I have to up to max, does that start healing resolve points or stamina points?
So does resolve also give you hit points, or only stamina?
Resolve. Let's see.
Wasn't it like half your max rounded down for a 10-minute rest?
Stabilizing. Staying in the fight. Interrupted. Let's see. So you'd need to spend 10 minutes to regain stamina points.
Right.
If you're dying and you have enough, you can spend a number of resolve points equal to 1/4 your maximum on your turn to immediately stabilize.
I do have a Mark 1 Serum of Healing that restores 1d8 HP, and I have
Gotcha.
4 of them. So, I mean, if you just need hit points at this point,
So it looks like you could spend your resolve and you guys could hang out for 10 minutes, and then you get all your stamina back. But you'll either need natural healing or magical or technological healing to get your hit points back.
Yeah, I've got a serum of healing as well. You can hold on to that just in case you need it during any other situations.
I mean, I haven't been attacked yet. I've been very lucky, so
I'll use my.
I shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah,
We can
that's
also
okay.
call this like upcoming all of these streams. We could call them learning to play or looking up the rules.
Right. I mean, I feel like it's no different than like the first session of any game that we play.
Yeah.
Like with a new player, like it's always a learning experience.
And we're all new players, so we don't even have that like one person that's like, okay, do this.
I mean, like I have a very cursory knowledge of the system, which does not translate to this very well. So.
Nice.
I'll do that. I will spend one resolve point to get my stamina back if we just hang out, and then I'll use my serum of healing to bump me up some hit points. I rolled 5, so I'll bump up 5 hit points. I'm still down a few hit points, but for the most part, I'm feeling pretty good again.
Nice.
So we're spending a minute to get the
10.
resolve. Is that 10?
Yeah.
At the end of at the start of the 9th minute, I will begin meditating.
Okay. So while the characters are taking an in-game break, we're going to take an out-of-game break real quick, and we'll be back in about 5. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're playing some Starfinder. The group just survived attacks by some weird icicle snakes and are investigating why the environmental controls is making it snow here on Absalom Station. So, from here, and you have all done your rest now, so you're free to go back to do what you're doing. What do you do?
That person that we found that was covered in ice, did I happen to see if any of his equipment had also turned to ice or anything like that?
Gotcha. It didn't look like any of the stuff on them turned to ice, just their flesh.
Okay. As much as I'm loath to do so, do need to find that access code for the computers. Would I be able to like search this person, try and find any sort of information on like a data terminal or anything like that?
Yeah, you could probably like chip away the ice to be able to get to their pockets or something, or
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to look around the room more, or if what
Yeah,
you're.
yeah, yeah. A little bit of both. I will first search him since it's a more isolated
Okay.
spot to search, and then expand outwards.
So while Raya is chipping some of this ice off, what are Altronus and Keskadai doing?
Opening pictures of dogs.
As one
Complete.
should.
That's right. I'm going to complete my meditation and have found my place in the universe, uh, and have an enhanced ability to stealth
Okay.
for the next. There's a timer on this.
I will stay vigilant for more of these icicle snake creatures, whatever they are. I don't like them. So I will, I guess, have my pistol at the ready and stand guard.
Okay. You know, this is completely off topic, and I'm gonna like jump from what we're doing for a moment here. I'm thinking from now on when we get to play, rather than having the "we'll be right back" generic screen, we should do like pets of the players, because there are so many cute pet pictures showing up on our Discord chat right now that I'm just like, this really needed to be what we were showing instead of my generic.
I
Anyway,
mean, I do send multiple dozens of pictures of that cat to my group chat every day. So if you need them,
I
I
love
got
it.
them.
Yeah, nice. Next time on We Get to Play. Okay. So, Raya, what you find, you do find an access card,
Mhm.
and you also find clutched in the person's hand is a piece of what looks like colored paper
Hmm.
and maybe like a little ribbon, almost like they had grabbed something and torn it off right before they died. And you didn't see anything like that on the snakes.
And firstly, what color is the ribbon? Just for my own imagination.
Magenta.
Okay. All right, that's a hell of a color. Um, do I see any of these colors anywhere beneath the ice, kind of thing, or is it completely out of place in this environment?
It is completely out of place in this environment.
Okay. Um, and I show it to the others. I'm like, I found the access card for the terminal, so we should be able to figure out what exactly is going on with the environmental systems. But this piece of ribbon, this piece of paper, does anybody have any idea uh, where it could possibly be from? We're having a very confused.
Does it
Do you,
seem to match the decorations that were scattered about in the upper area?
It's very reminiscent.
Similar color.
The ribbon definitely, although you haven't necessarily seen a bunch of magenta ribbon, but the paper itself, which is kind of like a dark blue with like a kind of some kind of like star pattern on it, um, that like definitely jogs like everyone's memory a little bit, that you had seen gifts wrapped in that paper before they were stolen.
do you think that they? And I assume that you communicate this. If not, I'm just detecting your thoughts because that is an ability I have. Uh, but no. Do you think this person came across the person whoever was stealing the gifts, um, and they did this to him? Like that seems like the most logical explanation, but
We know some things about their rituals around this holiday and combat, ritual combat. is one of those things, surely this person failed. So whoever is the victor must keep the presence.
Hmm.
So the only way for us to retrieve the presence is to face it in combat.
Suppose you're right, but I think before we go searching for anything else, we should try and find some more information. Um, if you wouldn't mind keeping watch, I'm going to try and find out whatever I can from this computer over here, using this access card.
I'll stand watch.
Thank you.
Okay. And
And
Keskadai
would you
would
need
be...
me to?
Oh.
Oh, go ahead.
I just want to see what Keskadai is doing while you're doing that.
Ah, yes.
Fair enough.
The Charlie Snow Angels.
Right? Love it. All right.
The paper. So we're looking for. Do you think perhaps this was a robbery? Were they trying to rob these people of their gifts, or
Maybe somebody's trying to steal Yule. I feel like I've heard of some furry creature that did that at one point in the myths that they recounted. The Grunch or something like that. Brunch, Grinch. I'm not sure.
Is that why they call it brunch?
I don't know.
The prices are so exorbitant that it's like stealing from you.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Especially when you get the special.
$15.99. Oh man. 2 eggs on toast.
Yeah, $15.99 during brunch, like $5 every other time of the day.
Right.
No,
True.
but I'm plugging away at the terminal while we're talking. So
yeah, so the access card absolutely allows you to get into the thing. You definitely detect that there is something not right, like that magical whatever that had to do with the probably like some kind of magical virus or something is still there. Like you're accessing it, doesn't make it go away, but you can now interface with the system.
And with a computer's check, would I be able to try and determine the point of entry from the magical virus, or is it outside of that?
Sure, go ahead and roll it.
I already rolled. I suppose I should roll again just to be fair.
Go ahead and use the roll because
17 plus 14.
Missed it by 1. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh god. Okay.
Nice.
Now, as you're going through it, it definitely looks like it was put in at this terminal. It looks like some user. Was it this person? Let's find out. It was somebody using this person's access code put in this magical virus.
And so I'm able to detect that it was using this person's access code. The code itself was in this. The card was in the person's hand before they were frozen.
So more than likely, especially with that roll, they were already in the system, and then whatever happened to them. Like you're holding the card now, like you just had to like swipe it. So he was probably already logged in before whoever did whatever. Or maybe it was that person.
Well, I mean, if it is that person, they did a real bang-up job with whatever they were intending to do. So I've been able to... so this computer, this terminal specifically, controls the environmental systems, yeah?
Correct.
Okay. And I consult with the others. I'm like, it looks like this code was used specifically to input the virus that we were talking about earlier. So either somebody was in the system itself, or it was it was this person that did it. That being said, how do we want to handle all of the snow? Do we want to try and get rid of it entirely? Do we want to isolate it to one area? What do you think would be the most helpful here?
Well, it seems like some people are enjoying this strange substance. So perhaps we just limit its area to prevent any damage or injuries or something like that. Perhaps to a section of a park
Mhm.
or something rather than a large area.
I think
It
that would
cannot
be
all
the.
be turned off. It must be, if nothing else, relegated for ritual combat has not yet been resolved.
So, oh God, uh, I would like to try and control the environmental system so that a vast majority of the space station and the dome itself are unaffected by this. But um, do I know of any parks with like a body of water or anything like that that would allow for like you know a pond to freeze over, turn into a skating rink or anything like that? Okay,
Sure.
yeah. Then I would like to relegate it to that area.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you do so successfully. It
Hey.
seems that as you're kind of working with it and you're like moving bits of code around, like trying to do things, it seems as though that magical effect isn't so much of a curse or like a detrimental effect. It wasn't like going to hurt you when you used it. You realize it's more like it allowed the system to do something it usually wouldn't do. So you end up using it to move essentially the snow effect to just a localized area.
And would I then be able to also? So how quickly will the snow dissipate, the snow and ice dissipate from the areas that are already affected?
Once you've turned it off and you've turned on the normal pretty quickly, like
Okay,
within
okay.
minutes.
All right.
Are
So
there any security cameras or anything nearby in this area that might have seen whoever was using this terminal?
There are.
I, I would like to try and access those as well.
Okay. Um, so you actually don't have access as the worker, but you are all guards and therefore could access it from like a different panel, like in a different area.
Okay.
That's more for the guards use than for this environmental use. Raya, you might be able to mess with the system to like reroute. Since you're already into this, you
Yeah.
could probably reroute with your own access card if you wanted to try and do that here. You'd have to do a
Yeah.
computer check.
I mean, I would like to redirect
Okay.
access to those systems from here, and I succeed very like I have succeeded so hard that I failed.
Yeah.
Um, this is the third one that I've rolled.
You
Be
rerouted it
nice.
so hard.
That it
It
went back to where,
Yeah, it
yeah,
went back. You bounced it off, and it. You didn't even know you could do that with
yeah.
information.
Who knew? Like you just completely lost. I just completely lost access to it. Yeah. So, I think we may have to go to one of the guard stations, try and find out more information, going for these computers, and seeing what's going on in this area with the cameras and what have you. Um, but we did manage to control the environment, so that's always nice.
You're like a super villain.
You feel like a
Me?
supervillain?
Weather control.
You've ruined
Oh,
you
okay.
all.
I am not a supervillain. Thank you very much. I'm just a regular villain.
Okay. So is everyone
Alright.
heading out from this area to go to a guard station?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you head out, the fog is dissipating, and actually you realize there are more bodies revealed by the fog, also icy and caused by probably those serpents that attacked you.
We should put forth a warning for quarantine of this sector,
Okay.
and batten down all hatches that lead into or out of the sector.
I mean,
As well
hopefully
as
all of the
vents.
hatches are closed, because otherwise you get sucked into the void. And
Wow. the corridor doors, well as all of the emergency access points, full lockdown.
Yeah, I
Okay.
feel like if we just give Amer a call, we can have him take a look
Okay.
and make sure that happens. Yeah.
Are any of these bodies, are they all dead?
They are.
Troubling.
So as you head out, you close the door, and you can actually like enter in an access code as a guard, and essentially like puts up this holographic like quarantine closed, do not enter, that goes over the door. And you call Amer and let him know. Is that right? He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, the snow's already melting up here. Although the runoff, we're trying to do something about all the water, but it's okay. It's definitely better. It is still snowing over one of the parks.
Oh yeah. I mean, you mentioned something about wanting a ice skating rink.
Oh, that's a really good. Okay, yeah, that's great. Thank you. Good job.
Of course, of course. I expect this to be reflected on my yearly review.
Nice.
Just a heads up.
Love it. Okay, so as you all head out and you head to the guard station, you get there and Phil Vindor is working. He's kind of a lizard-looking fellow. He's a Veskin, I think is what they're called.
I think it's Vesk, but yeah, either way.
Oh yeah, the language is Veskin. They are Vesk. You were
Okay.
correct.
Hey, I'm right. Who'd have thought? No, but what did you say his name was again?
Phil Vindor.
Okay, that's a name.
I love random name generators.
I mean, they're certainly useful. Not always intelligible. I will say
Right.
that much.
There were some other ones that I was like, I can't pronounce that with a tongue.
Yeah. I feel like you would be able to better communicate with this person. From what I understand about the Vesk, Ultronus, they're very much a warrior culture.
Should we commence with combat?
No. Don't fight him. Gosh, no.
I see.
You know, talk to him like you would talk to anybody else. That is a strong, independent warrior that may have seen some stuff, and like investigate a little bit.
What's his rank?
Same as yours.
What?
Same as yours.
Same as your. Oh, okay.
Guard.
Guard. I present myself to you. I see you. We are in need of access to the cameras in sector environmental control.
So he puts down, like he lowers these like strange eating utensils that are used to grab these long worm creatures that are still moving. And he's like slurps one into his mouth as he looks at you. And he just like
Very
he goes
well.
back to eating.
All right, we'll go to the panel, and something button.
Oh wait, no, don't do that. Oh, honey.
There's
and
a
I-
bit.
Auto
That's how
destruct
that
has
works.
been initiated. 5 minutes to auto destruct.
Yay! Cosmos rules all.
Oh God. I knew I shouldn't have let a death priest take. Or wait, no, that's never mind.
That's me.
I mean, I am also kind of a priest scholar.
No, but I push you aside very quickly, turn off the self-destruct, and try and access the cameras, because
Okay.
that is my job. No.
Yeah, absolutely. And being a guard, you're actually pretty used to doing this, and so you call it up. It takes you a few moments to figure out which sector to call up, but sooner or later you find the environmental. There's several cameras, and you can actually display them all up together, or you can pull up one by one.
I would like to display them side by side,
Okay.
see if and sync them up in terms of time, just to make sure that there aren't any edits or anything that have been done to it, hiding what's going on.
So you bring them up and you're watching, and like everything looks normal and everyone's kind of doing their thing, and at a certain point, and like you scroll back far enough to where you see people moving around, essentially, that it's not covered with fog. Um, but it looks like they're exchanging those gifts, and like it looks like they're all cheerful and everything, and then a figure moves in, but with that figure, this like fog kind of rolls in with them and begins to fill it, and so it's very hard to see what that figure looks like, but they kind of look humanoid in size as far as shape, size. They're a medium-sized person, but you do notice some large horns that curl back on their head. Make me a perception check, and everyone can do this since you're all watching.
It's the devil.
23.
21.
3.
So Atronus, you're just like you're so excited that this is probably going to result in combat. So you're like hyper focused on who this is. You have no idea, however, they don't look familiar. But what does look familiar is there's a certain leather wrap, like almost like a kilt, but it's more like an over kilt. I don't even know what to call that. That instantly jogs your memory. Like you feel like you saw it earlier today, in fact. You're pretty sure that...
Where?
Yeah, you're pretty sure that Grimwald the dwarf was wearing a similar wrap.
We must question Grinwald.
Interesting.
I think you're right. And I assume you point out the similarities in the rap because I saw nothing. But I definitely think you're right. He must know something more about this. He seemed very excited about the entire prospect of snow on the station, more so than the others did.
Perhaps because he has the presents and he knows no one can steal them from him to complete the ritual.
I don't know.
But we shall find the presents.
We should go back to the promenade and find out what's going on.
Yes.
Is that the plan?
Mm-hmm.
To the
Okay.
promenade.
To the promenade.
So Phil Vindor like doesn't even say anything. He's just like chewing. He's like "Mmm," as you head out.
Enjoy
And you
your
head
meal.
back. And you feel like you can hear like the very tiny screams of the worms. You're pretty sure they're not just like earthworms. They're probably sentient. So you head up to the promenade, and like right away you can tell that it's obviously warmer. There is like water kind of like drying in puddles in the halls, almost like it kind of like washed down. And you walk out into the eye, and there is like a small cloud off there over in the distance that you can see snow falling from, but otherwise you can see the stars through the dome, and everyone for the most part looks like they're having fun. There's like some janitor bots out that are like kind of trying to like smoosh the water off out into like some drains and such. What do you do?
Where is that dwarf? I'm going to scan for him. Is he still here?
You don't see him, but you could head over to like kind of where his shop is.
I'll go there.
Okay. Everyone going with Altronus?
Yes. I try and stay as close as I possibly can to the big, strong people. Very squishy.
Fair enough. So as you are walking along, and there's like a lot of people walking around now that it's not like freezing cold, you come out of the crowd into a larger, like kind of there's like a walkway, and you exit that walkway into a more open common area, and you can see Grimwald over to the side. He just has this scowl on his face. He's like glaring around at everyone. Definitely not the happy individual you saw earlier.
Is everything okay? You seem to be a little upset.
Someone turned off all the snow. How are we going to have a good Yule without all the snow?
I'm pretty sure there's more over in that general direction.
But
points over to where it is.
whatever.
It was a safety concern. I'm sure whoever did it didn't mean to,
Everyone was
declare
having a good
war on
time.
Yule or anything like that.
This is a war on Yule. Keep the Yule and Yule miss. All the kids were having fun. Everyone was enjoying it. I don't see what the problem was.
I mean, some people just some species aren't as tolerant to the cold as we are. It's definitely a problem. But
They
I
sell-
mean, it is in that area.
You can have clothes fabricated that warm you.
This
Yeah.
is true.
You're right. You're right. Maybe we should start giving out gifts of. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I have a question for you. It's something that we found down in the environmental controls. There seems to be somebody.
I don't have time for this. I need to go take care of some stuff.
Oh, that's very suspicious.
I will. Ooh. I will cast command on him.
Okay. So
And
he gets a
tell him to
save.
stop and listen.
So does he get a save for that?
He does. Yeah, he does. He gets a save. Command DC 16.
Okay. And what did you command him to do?
Stop and listen.
So like his movement jerks rigidly, and then he like sighs and turns and looks at you. What?
Listen.
You guards abusing you're stepping on my rights as an individual on this space station.
Did you send in the frozen snakes? Was that your doing?
Frozen snakes? What are you talking about?
All the people down in that environmental area, they were all attacked by these frozen snake-like creatures that killed them. All of them. They're all dead.
Well, that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just trying to get to the bottom of it. We obviously don't think that you have anything to do with it.
I don't
It
know.
sounds like you already got to the bottom of it. You had some snakes that killed everybody.
Yeah, but we're curious about how those snakes came onto the station, and the only evidence that we have is very reminiscent of the decorations that we know you know something about. And I hold out the ribbon and the wrapping paper from the gift, and I'm like, do you recognize this? Do you know anywhere that sells them, or somebody?
Well, I
that
mean,
might have
sure, of
access
course,
to them?
I have that wrapping paper and ribbon, but that doesn't mean anything.
Oh no. I'm sure it doesn't.
I've sold dozens of yards of that stuff. It could have been anyone.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, if we want to, if we would like, we could always just start searching for all of those dozens of people that have bought wrapping paper. But I feel like that's
Probably a good idea. You should do that.
And did you see anybody suspicious? Somebody with horns or a kilt very reminiscent of yours?
With horns and a kilt. Pfft. I mean, this is a no. Why would no?
Sense motive.
Sure.
Is he lying? Let's see here. Of course I don't have sense motive. Why would I have that? Why would I have that? Indeed. 11.
11. You definitely feel like he's hiding something. With the amazing 4 that I rolled for his deception.
I'm going to need you to come down to the station.
I'm in the station.
No. To the guard station.
I don't
Got
have
some,
time for that. I have important stuff to take care of. It's very important.
As is this. In fact, I believe this does take precedence, I'm afraid. Come with us.
He starts like looking around and like stepping backwards.
I think he might start to run.
Should we tackle him?
Well, I mean, we don't want to use excessive force.
We
That would
don't.
be disastrous.
Tackle him. I didn't say shoot him.
Tackle him with
Well,
bullets.
Do I?
I will attempt to use diplomacy with him and say, look, we don't want to make this any harder than it needs to be. You clearly know something about this. You should just tell us. Just tell us. It'll be fine.
While that question is being asked, I would like to use my ability to detect thoughts, which is an inherent ability. I can detect the surface thoughts of an intelligent creature within a 60-foot cone. If I concentrate, I can attempt to read those thoughts. DC 12 will check negates this ability.
Okay, so Keskadai, as you're saying this, he's looking at you, and all of a sudden he stops, and he just like rolls his eyes over to Raya. Raya, you definitely hear him try and figure out how to get out of here, and he needs to get back and get the presents. And then he just stops and looks at you, and then all of a sudden, like, one of his eyes just seems to like glaze over and become not shiny anymore. And then the other one does the same thing.
Oh. Does it seem like something is trying to take control over him? Is it just like he's zoning out? Am I able to figure out anything else about this?
Do a I feel like this would be like a magic knowledge check.
Mysticism.
Sure.
Aha, that is a 15 plus, it's a 23 total.
Honestly, you're not really sure. You've never seen anything quite like this. Usually, like when it comes to possessions, like there are definitely physical attributes that change. So I guess use that how you will.
And I'm becoming very wary of this, whatever may be happening. And but before, I mean, I just got to let whatever's happening take hold, because I don't know how to stop it and I don't know what it is. Just ask him, where are these gifts that you're so intent on getting back to?
He kind of drops his head and shakes it, and he's smiling and gives a little laugh. And as he looks up, like he's got this big smirk on his face, and then his face just like solidifies and almost looks wooden. And then his eyes fall out and roll across the floor.
Fun. It's not creepy at all.
And there's just like darkness behind them.
I will cast Psychokinetic Hand to grab one of his eyes.
Sure, yeah. Bloop.
Can I take a move action to get some dark matter going?
Sure.
Sir, are you okay? It seems like your eyes have fallen out of your head. Normally that doesn't literally happen when somebody's surprised.
He's like, no, I'm fine. And his voice has definitely changed, just getting a little deeper and a little more gruff. I've just got something in my boot here. And he like pulls off his boot like he's going to dump sand out of it or something. But inside, like a leg is folded up, like there's a hoof, and it unfolds. And he steps down onto the hoof, and then he pulls the other boot out, and there's a hoof, and he steps down, and he grows like a good 1.5 foot as he does this. And he reaches up and he grabs his hair and just peels it back. And these horns are just like there as he does so, and the mask falls off. And I'll drop an image into your chat so you can see it. And then I'll bring it up for everyone else.
I just saw these cats and dogs. Oh God. Sorry, I'm gonna be a little distracted in this Discord for a second.
Too much cuteness.
And then like something. Yes, I was right. Something completely horrific.
Right. So beneath his dwarven exterior, this very large horned creature is now stepping forth. It has this like purplish skin, almost like normal flesh that's been too long out in the cold. The tips of his fingers look frostbitten. His extremities are all just a little bit colder looking than the rest of him. He looks very angry with you. Let's go ahead and roll initiative.
It's just +1. It's just +1. 18.
18.
12.
Ew.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you say 2?
It says ew.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought she said 2 as well. I'm like, well,
I got 5. It's close enough.
not much better.
No. No. Caught
All right,
off
so-
guard by this creature.
So yeah, it's definitely a little off-putting, but Ultronus, you've been, just ready for a fight anyway. So while he's doing this and stands up, what do you do?
All right. I fall into my photon mode. So begin gathering photons in my body, which increases my damage. Yes. That is a free action. Okay. Solar manifestation. I grab my little tiny baby sun that's floating around my head and grab that, and a blade forms. And then let's see here. It's a move action. Because I'm attuned to photon mode, I'm going to sheath my blade in plasma. So all my damage is now fire. And I increase my damage some more. And I'm going to hold, unless is he in front of me directly?
He's about 10 feet from you.
I'm going to hold an attack for him to approach.
Okay.
And then I'm going to give him the business.
The business.
The business.
Excellent. Raya, so Altronus has obviously geared up to kick whatever this thing's butt. What do you do? That wasn't actually English that I just said, was it?
I mean, it was English. It just wasn't very. Anyway,
wasn't very well English.
It wasn't the
Yes.
Queen's English.
I mean, I barely speak English most days, so like I can relate. That being said, I'm gonna call out, sir. We don't want to hurt you. Can you like cease and desist? I don't know how police talk or guards talk in this setting. Can you just like not be aggressive? We just want to ask you some questions. I say, and I try to. I mean, it's less of an intimidate, more of a persuasion, but I don't have anything in persuasion.
Just a charisma check?
Yeah, I mean that works. I mean, it would work if I had anything more than a. Oh, it's a 10. A 10.
A 10? He kind of glares at you and he says, if you hadn't ruined Yule, we might have something to talk about. And then he reaches into his... so now really all he has on is that kilt, and he reaches into a pocket that's on it and pulls out a little glass... What's that?
His Yule pouch.
His Yule pouch. He pulls out a little glass globe that seems to have like a base on it, like some kind of thing that you would set down and keep the orb from rolling around. But he throws it at Altronus, who I need to make. Altronus, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Reflex. 12 plus. Where the hell's my mouse? There you are. There you are. All right. Reflex is +2. So that's a 14.
A
My
14.
reflex.
So as this orb passes through Altronus' space, Altronus disappears.
Whoa.
Yes.
Like
And then
goes
he kind of actually no, he's not going to step back. He moves up and engages with Raya.
Oh, fun.
However, he doesn't do anything else because that was his turn. So, Keskadai, what do you do?
Is this orb gone? Like,
No, it hit the floor and rolled off.
Is it close enough that I could grab it with my psychokinetic hand?
You could with your hand, yeah. Because it's
Yeah.
like 30 feet, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use my psychokinetic hand to actually. I take that back. I'm instead going to use telekinetic projectile to hurl that little orb right back at him.
Gotcha. How far can the projectile move?
It says can telekinetically hurl an object weighing up to 5 pounds at a target within 30 feet.
Perfect. Okay.
No.
So do you roll a hit or does the creature roll a save?
Making an attack roll
Okay.
+4 bonus against its kinetic AC.
Against its kinetic AC.
And I'm going to use my communalism once per day. I can roll twice and take the higher roll.
Nice.
Give me something good. Okay. I guess that'd be a 15. Yeah, I guess that's gonna be a 15.
Okay. So it goes streaking towards him, and he ducks out of the way, but also reaches up an arm and snags it out of the air.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough.
So is that a full action to do the?
Yeah, that is, well, it's a standard action. So, I don't know how close I am to him, but I do prefer a little bit of space.
So were you and Raya standing right next to each other, or were you spaced out a little bit?
I'm guessing we were probably next to each other.
So he's like right up there too.
Yeah. So I'll take a side step or something just to put just like 5 feet between us.
Gotcha. So Altronus.
Yes.
One moment you were standing on the promenade of the Eye. There was this horned individual in front of you. Your fellow guards were next to you. You were ready to lay down the law.
The business.
Now, you are standing in snow up to your knees. There's a little house in front of you with some what look like trees or something. You've never seen trees quite like this, and there's snow on them. Snow is falling around you in kind of a chaotic manner. It's not even falling like straight down. It's kind of swirling about in the air. What do you do?
I'm going to activate my deflect suit.
I have no idea what that means.
It seals me against the environment, so I can survive in the vacuum of space for 4 days, as well as any other hazardous environments.
Okay.
I'm used to being put into the will of the cosmos.
Have you been airlocked one too many times? Is that what you're saying?
It has happened. It has happened. It has happened. The things that I have seen, the creatures I have fought. Sometimes the only answer is the hungry maw of space.
So what you're saying is you
consume.
airlocked yourself before?
Yes.
Wow. It's
To
hardcore.
defeat, sometimes you must embrace space. For all things will end in the black void, where nothing will remain. We must embrace such things. Yeah, so I'm going to activate my deflex suit and head towards the house, I guess, because I'm not really sure where I am. There's a lot of snow. They don't really have houses here on this station.
Not at all.
Not like this, yeah. So,
Okay.
in the back of my mind, I might be hallucinating, possible. But for now, we'll go towards that building.
Okay. So Raya, he essentially lowered his head and started running towards you. What do you do?
So, good question. I think what I'm going to do is cast grease on a 10-foot square in his direct path.
Gotcha.
It's
So
a
essentially,
it's
like
a DC
you and then
16
it.
reflex save. Yeah,
Okay.
DC 16 reflex, or he falls prone.
Is it now or at the beginning of your turn? Sorry, his turn.
Immediately, it looks like.
Perfect. Reflex. His hooves kind of like slide around a bit, but he manages to stay up for now.
I mean, it makes sense. He does seem to be built for the ice and snow. And I think if I'm far enough away that I can avoid any sort of like attack of opportunity or what have you, I'm
You're
going
not.
to. Okay. Well, I mean, better to get away while I can rather than be in close proximity for an extended period of time. So I'm going to I'm going to move as far
Okay.
back as I possibly can.
So he will take an attack on you. Does a 32 hit you?
No, I think
I
you missed
say
it by a
jokingly,
couple.
right?
You by twice, yes. 2 times the
Okay.
amount that you need.
I'm not used to seeing numbers like this. I'm just like, holy crap, really?
I mean, it makes us feel powerful, but then I remember that anybody can have those numbers, even
Right.
enemies. Yeah.
So he essentially just backhands you. You're going to take 23 bludgeoning.
Ooh.
I'm sorry, what?
Wow.
That was
Wow.
23 bludgeoning.
Okay, I have. So I'm assuming I'm far enough away from him that he can't do that immediately, right? Like immediately on his next
Again,
turn, right?
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
so essentially you have moved out of his range, which gave him the opportunity attack. It will come off your stamina points first.
Okay. Stamina point, so that's minus 20. So okay. I'm good. I was concerned for a minute.
I mean, it still hurts.
I mean, it's a difference between having 21 HP and 1 HP. So,
Oh no! All
Yeah,
the squishy people. I will point out that our soldier couldn't make it today. The person who was supposed to be the tank. So we'll see how this goes.
I mean, if we die, it's just we'll have to come back as a Christmas miracle. Or sorry, Yule Miss miracle.
It's a Yule Miss miracle. All right, so you move away. You've cast grease. Is there anything else that you can do that you'd like to do?
That is all of my actions.
Okay. So Altronus, the door opens.
Yes.
What looks like a small goblin made of ice with a very long nose and wings opens the door and says, "No, this is my house. What are you doing here? You are not supposed to be here."
I'm commandeering this dwelling.
Oh, no, you're not.
Have I been collecting photons these past 2 rounds?
You
Or am I
have.
like in a... Excellent.
It's not your turn. This is the goblin's turn,
okay.
or the thing's turn.
Sorry.
But I wanted to give you a chance to say something back to him before he's like, "Ha ha!" So he rushes out and attempts to claw you.
bring it.
22.
Oh yeah, yep, that hits.
1 slashing and 1 cold.
Oh wow.
And he cackles at you. Meanwhile, Grimwald turns to Keskadai because you're right next to him,
Of course.
and he reaches back and, like, attached to his kilt, he pulls out a birch bundle, like a bundle of sticks, essentially. I don't know if you've ever seen birch before, so he pulls out a bundle of sticks. Make sure I'm understanding this correctly. Oh, right. I totally forgot something else. That's all right. You know, we're going to do it on his turn instead of your turn. Make me a will saving throw. You and Raya.
I'm gonna get whipped. What are you, a nun?
Whoops.
Yeah, I
That
did not.
is
No, did not make that. Whatever it is.
12.
12?
Will
Yeah.
12.
So you're both frightened of Grimwald.
Great. I'm scared of his sticks. Makes
I
sense.
mean, look, if Krampus has some ideas about what I'm into, he is very wrong. But no, I will take the frightened condition. What does that involve?
Let me double check. I had these up earlier and then I closed it.
I actually have it already.
Nice.
Frightened. You flee from the source of your fear as best you can. If you are unable to flee, you can instead fight. -2 penalty ability checks, attack rolls, saving throws, skill checks. You can use special abilities, including spells, to flee. And you must use such means if they're your only way to escape while you are frightened. If you're already frightened and become subject to an additional effect that would cause you to be frightened, the duration increases by the duration of the second effect.
Okay. All right, so he takes a swing at you. 27?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make a will save.
Great. Ooh. 26.
Oh, nice. So you are unaffected by the extra thing, but from the damage you are going to take... 11 bludgeoning.
Okay. He doesn't realize it, but apparently I'm into it.
You're like, yeah, whip me. Whip me! Okay, that's his turn. So what do you do in response there, Keskadai?
Yeah, I'm not really thrilled about this whole, like, just being thwacked with some sticks. And so I'm going to go ahead and attempt to mind thrust back at him. DC 17. Will
He critically
save.
fails.
He fails?
He failed.
Good. Take some damage.
Starfinder has crit fail, right? Like if you roll a 1, it's a fail.
I don't
Think.
know. I remember 3.5 and 3.75 having weird rules on natural ones, but I don't remember all of the. I mean, it's been donkeys since I played any of these systems.
I mean, I would just go with 1 being a crit fail.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any specific rules other than you fail the save.
Automatic
feel
failures.
like-
Natural 1 on a saving throw is always a failure.
Okay.
20 is always a success.
Yeah,
So
because
it
some of the
doesn't
stuff
sound-
he can do also has crit failure stuff. Like the thing that you suffer is worse. So is there anything with your mind thrust that is bolstered by him getting a crit fail.
No, not that I see.
Okay, that's too bad.
He'll take 23 points of damage.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
You like it? Cheer.
He winks at you and he's like, yeah. And then he and Keskadai go off and rent a motel room.
Oh.
Anything else there, Keskadai?
No.
Okay. So Altronus, this little weird creature has just attacked you.
Light death of the universe is inevitable. There is no stopping it. I will then, now that I have my 3 points of photons, I'm not going to blow up in this imp's face just yet, but I am going to murder him in his face.
Okay.
As
Right
a
in
move
there.
action, I'm going to sheath my blade with plasma. He gains +2 damage. I have +1 damage for photon. Yes. That's plus. It's all going to be fur damage. Yeah. All right. That's all the things. Cool. I'm gonna smack him. Smack him for a 16.
That will actually just miss him. He dodges out of the way.
Can I use a resolve point to roll it again?
You can.
I'm using a resolve point. 19.
That'll hit him.
Excellent. D6 of fire damage. That's 5. D3 of fire damage. It's 1. So that's 6 points of fire damage. Plus 6 is 12. Plus 3 is 15 points of fire damage.
Okay. So, like, he jumps back, like, looks like he's just gonna be missed by your swing, but the heat from your blade just carves right through him, and it carves him in half to the point where, like, he thinks he's fine until his top half falls off his bottom half and he falls to the ground and he's like, why?
Embrace the darkness.
That's all your stuff?
Can't move. I did my move action to set him on fire. So that's that.
Okay. Raya, you are afraid of this thing that you thought was a dwarf.
Yeah, it's not every day that you come across a dwarf that then turns into some kind of deer person, but I accept this. There are some strange things in the universe. It's whatever. That being said, I am absolutely terrified of it, so I have to run away as quickly as possible.
Okay.
And I am going to do that. Trying to see if I have any abilities real quick that would make moving easier or more expedient, because I would have to use them. I do not, so I just run away. Because that's all I can do, right?
Go ahead and make me a perception check while you're running.
That is an 11.
Okay. So you just turn away and just book it. Do you have to use your action to dash, essentially?
I believe so.
me-
Eric, you looked up the rules a minute ago. I think you said unless I have to fight, like unless I'm cornered, I have
Yeah,
to
you flee from the source of your fear as best you can.
Yeah. So then I would use my move as well as my normal action in order to do so.
You can use special abilities, including spells, to flee. Yep. Okay. All right. So Raya books it. What's your movement speed? Is it 30?
Yeah, 30. So 60 total after doubling it with my action.
Okay. Grimwald goes. So Keskadai, what? Never mind.
It's right. Never mind.
Right? I keep flicking back to 5th edition.
You want to know the mind thrust, buddy?
Oh, wrong thing.
I like how your shirt has the dude with horns on it. Very fitting.
So he's going to hit you again.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I need you to make another will save.
Okay. It's 25.
That will make it. Awesome. So then, ooh, that's not great.
For you or me?
No, for you. 26 damage?
Oh.
Yeah, he rolled real high on that one.
Wow.
Okay then.
Are you still up?
Yeah, I'm still up.
Okay, then he stays where he is. And that
Nice.
brings us to your turn.
2, and then let's see. All right, so 9 more points there.
I believe
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Were you
That
frightened?
hurt.
That
That
hurt.
hurt a
So at this
bit.
point, you're frightened, right? So you need to run away.
No,
Oh, you're not
no,
frightened. Okay.
no, I'm not frightened. Hmm.
Go ahead and make a perception check.
Okay. It's a 28.
Nice. So it's very tiny. It's hard to see, but it's kind of sparking. Like you see these little motes of light as what looks like a little ornament tied to his belt.
Hmm.
Is like it's shaking, but it might be with his movement, but it seems to be shaking more than his movement allows for. And it's kind of like glowing and emitting light. It looks like one moment.
Grenade. I can blow him up with
It
his own.
looks like a grenade.
Looks like a
It
dog.
looks like that for the
Inside.
audience and for you.
Some pictures of dogs, puppies.
It looks like that.
Oh.
Hmm.
I will let you do with that information what you choose, and it's your turn.
I think I am intrigued by this thing, and do I feel like perhaps this object is giving him some sort of additional power, enabling his abilities?
Why don't you make a mysticism check?
Really? Now? I rolled. Oh, that's the sword. That's a 20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually, unless I've only seen one set of dice that are like made by a certain manufacturer that the like weird side is the one.
Yeah. Well, this side has a 1, but the 20 is a little sword.
Right.
And so I was like, oh crap, I rolled a 1.
Roll a 1.
I was like, wait a minute. I turn it over. There's the 1. So nope,
Nice.
I rolled a 1.
There's
Automatic.
definitely some kind of effect that it is garnering from having that. What that effect is, you're not completely sure. You might have a better idea once you're whole, like if you had possession of it.
If I had possession of it?
Yeah, like it's kind of hard to tell by looking at it, but if you have possession of it, you feel like you'd understand more.
Huh. Well, interesting. I will. I'm debating if I could do psychokinetic hand. I don't know if I can take something off him with that.
What's the pound limit?
5 pounds, I think.
You could try it.
Psychokinetic hand can move an action to move an object within 35 feet that weighs 10 pounds or less.
Oh, 10
up to
pounds.
50
Nice.
feet. Can't perform fine manipulation. can push a single button, close a lid, and so on. I'm
Like,
assuming I can grab
it's not being
something.
held by him, so you definitely feel like as long as the whatever just tying it to his belt is weak enough, you could probably snap it off there.
Zorp.
It comes
Oh,
like
yeah.
you see it tug, and there's like a moment of like strain between the string and the belt and the ornament, and then snap. Are you bringing it to yourself?
Yeah.
It comes winging over, and as it drops into your hand, it's like a heavy metal, like iron ornament, and it's. I mean, just looking at it, it looks very old. There's like some patina on it from like just the age of the iron, um, and it continues to vibrate and emit sparks. The sparks don't hurt you.
Yeah. Okay. So do I feel anything from this by holding it, taking possession? Does
You
it
don't
feel like
feel anything take possession of you or anything, but you do feel a presence within it that says, "Free me."
uh-oh.
That's not terrifying at all. Completely normal stuff for an ornament to have.
Does it appear there's anything that like opens? Does it have a little hinge?
It looks exactly like the picture, so there is a seam that goes around it.
Screw it, I'll open it.
Okay. So you just like twist it.
Yeah, just
All right. So we're gonna count that as essentially your turn because that's been a lot of stuff.
yeah.
So you twist it, and Grimwald shouts, he's like, "No!" And as you twist it, there's like this shattering noise, almost like when that icicle fell when you were in the environmental area. That's all you notice.
Hmm.
Which brings us to Altronus.
I stride over the body of the dead imp.
Okay.
Go into the cottage and do a calm assessment of its contents.
Inside, you find a nice cup of cold chocolate. There is not a fireplace roaring. There are some like these like canes made of sugar that are hanging from these like garlands of green plant material. That's really all that's inside. Those are the ones. Yeah, the canes have like they're white with red striping that circulate around them. You're not really sure what he was so protective of because not much in here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of me thinks you set fire to the building and then move on. But
because why wouldn't you?
Yeah. There's only one room.
Yep.
Are there any trapdoors underneath carpets? Are there any hatches?
You could do a search check. I think is what they're called.
It's an 18 plus. Do I have search? Nope, just perception. So it'd be search is a wisdom or is it intelligence?
Wisdom, I think.
Like investigation.
Yeah,
Wisdom.
search is a perception, wisdom-based skill. Yeah.
Okay, but it's not perception specifically, so it'll be a 19.
Okay. Looking around, you don't find anything else. It is a little weird because the outside was sculpted like it looked like it was multiple floors, but walking in, you don't see anything else. In fact, you've realized that the walls are plastic, the floor is plastic. The only thing that's really real is that is not plastic is the cup of cold chocolate and the garland and the candy canes.
Well, we'll first, I guess, start to search the cup, I guess, dump out its contents and see if there's anything inside the cup being obscured from vision.
So you dump it out and then tilt it back up to look at it.
Yep.
Um,
Nothing
it
solid
fills.
inside.
It fills back up with hot chocolate.
I drink of this strange dark liquid.
Okay. So at the end of your turn, you're standing there drinking hot chocolate. Which brings us to Raya.
Okay, so just so that I have a firm understanding of what the environment looks like right now, the bell has been taken from Grimwald, and he is still a threat.
You are no longer afraid of him at the beginning of your turn, by the way.
Yeah, every turn, yeah.
And you're far enough
so-
away from him, so.
So what I'm gonna have to do is move forward about 20 feet. So I'm gonna use my move action, which means that I can't use this ability that I wanted to use. But I am going to use my pistol, my Thunderstrike sonic pistol, in order to attack him. So that
So
would
just-
be a 23.
That will actually miss him.
23 will miss.
A 23 will miss.
Hey,
But
fun. Nice.
so when you say you move forward, so you stop, turn around, and move back towards him 20 feet?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd be within 30 feet of him. Yeah.
Okay, so as you head back and you take aim and you feel pretty confident of it, but as you shoot it, it's almost like he knows or something and he just moves out of the way as it goes over his shoulder. But you realize he's looking off this way, and maybe it's just the way he was moving when you did that. And you look over there and it looks like the air is broken
Oh.
about 30 feet off to your left. Almost like somebody
Interesting.
broke a mirror that isn't there. And there's little edges of frost on it. Like cold wisps are coming through.
And does would I need to roll anything to understand that it seems to be like some sort of portal?
You could do a
or-
mysticism.
Okay. That would be 25.
You are pretty sure that is the forming of a portal over there.
Hey, that seems dangerous, I say out loud to everybody. Well,
What
the
could
one
go
person
wrong?
that's still nearby. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. And since I still have 10 feet of movement, I only used the 20 in order to get within range. I
Yeah.
am going to start moving towards that direction,
Okay.
the direction of the portal. Yeah.
Gotcha. About this time, holy crap, your fellow guards are horrible at shooting. Some laser fire starts shooting at Grimwald, and he's just like, no. And they all stop midstream and fall to the ground. No, only 2 of those did that. That was
Surrounded
Raya,
by stormtroopers.
right?
They're all wearing white armor.
Oh my gosh. Grimwald is actually he turns and runs away. Keskadai, is there anything you do?
As a reaction, is he next to me?
He was next to you, but he runs away.
Well,
you can
he's
take it.
attempting to run away.
Oh.
I will. I mean, I don't really know what else I can do because it's usually just actions. I don't really know what I can do for reactions other than attempt
You
to
can take an
like.
attack of opportunity.
Can I grapple him to attempt to
I'm-
stop him?
I'll allow that. I'm not sure if
Or-
Starfinder
yeah.
has that.
Uh,
Let me just double check something. Hang on 1 second. It doesn't say anything about not being able to be used, so sure. So to do that, you are going to...
I don't know what else I could do other than just swing at him.
If you want to try and grapple him, why don't you do a strength check compared to his dex or strength? I know I'm playing 5th edition here. I apologize.
Does he look... He looks like he would be pretty strong, right?
He does. Yeah, he's
Based on
definitely pretty beefy.
the way he looks. I personally know that I'm not really much stronger than average, so chances of that working are unlikely.
Gotcha.
So I will just attempt to hit him with my battle staff.
Okay.
I wish I could trip him, but that's not really a thing. So we're gonna see if I can block him with my battle staff. And I'll just yell at him like, "You need to stick around and see what you have wrought."
Okay.
And let's see. Battle staff is going to be +3, so that's a 17.
That's going to miss him as he runs away. Take a swing. Miss. But as you're doing that, behind you, you can't see it, but Raya, you're heading towards it, so you obviously see it. Through the portal, a large hoofed foot steps down, and there's like wisps of smoke. And if you thought the other guy was large or, a little beefy, hold please.
Daddy's home.
Daddy's home.
This fellow steps out. And for those of you watching...
Whoa. Is it like a boombox he's got?
No, that's a bloody basket.
Oh!
A large furry shape with huge horns, and he's massive. He steps out and he has chains wrapped around him. Raya, behind him you can see like a snowscape area. Like it looks like mountains are far in the distance, but he's like in some kind of hills. And he steps out and there's like a little trail of blood behind him.
Oh, that's cute. I love that.
But he reaches out and chains shoot out from like that or wrapped around him and grab Grimwald, who shrieks in terror.
Get
That
over
brings
here,
us to
etc.
Altronus.
He was a bad, naughty boy. Grimwald. Well, I have partaken of the weird muddy water that is for some reason hot.
It's very delicious, actually.
I wonder if I'm allergic to this.
It's weird. It tastes
should
nothing
have-
like dirt, like you expected it to.
Yeah. Although I should have done a check on this to see if it was poisoned or not. I'm going to go back to the corpse of the imp. Is there anything on the corpse of the imp? Anything in his possession?
No.
See here. I'm going to light a fire inside the fireplace. There's a tree here. So I'm going to chop that tree up.
All right, so you head over to the
real
tree,
coarsely.
and you
Yeah.
realize that the reason it looks weird is because it's also plastic.
So this room looks smaller than the building looked on the outside, right?
You've gone back outside to get the tree, right?
Wasn't there a tree inside?
No,
With
the
the
tree was
candy canes?
outside.
Ah, okay.
There's some a garland of like essentially spruce or pine or whatever, but there's not an actual tree inside.
Is that also plastic?
No, the garland's actually real.
All right, we'll take the garland and
Yeah.
we'll stick that into the fireplace.
Absolutely.
And I will use a move action to imbue my weapon with plasma, and I'm going to nuke those garlands into a cheerful winter fire and see if that does anything.
It's very cheerful. You feel warm. And as you
Well,
stand there and
except-
bask in the glory of the fire, Raya.
I think. So with that
Oh,
mysticism check,
I completely skipped Keskadai. I apologize for interrupting you, Raya, as I go back to Keskadai.
Okay, so chains had shot out past me
Yeah.
and grabbed this creature.
Yeah. You're really, without looking, you're not sure where those chains came from.
And I just kind of whip around, and my eyes get really can't really see it, but my as a human, my eyes would get really big, but my bug eyes just look like my bug eyes.
Right.
And
Maybe your antenna
my
or like,
antennas start flailing around, all
and your
like
mandibles just go.
and I will use my limited telepathy to communicate with this not the bigger creature, but the smaller creature, and be like, "See, look what you did, you little jerk."
Love it. You're not like, hey, is it all right? Like, are you okay? You're just like, ha 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 ha. Okay. Anything else?
I will. What is the? I will take up a defensive stance to boost my AC.
Okay.
And that's my turn.
Perfect. Now, Raya, I apologize.
Okay. So, with the mysticism check, would I be able to figure out whether or not that portal, that the giant creature that we do not know the name of, or I don't at least,
Right.
is leading to the same place that Altronius is, or is that kind of a? Would I be able to figure that out, basically?
Gotcha. So you actually haven't seen Altronus. You don't know where Altronus is. So no.
All I know is that he's in that orb. Which am I
That's
able to
definitely
spot
a
that?
potential. Yeah.
I would like to get our one major damage dealer back, more than just let him, languish in a icy pit somewhere. So what I'm going to try and do is, can I see the orb anywhere? Is it still on?
I believe it's on the ground because Keskadai threw it at Grumwald to try and put him into the orb too, and it just hit him and then fell to the ground.
Okay, I'm gonna use my move action to try and run up and grab that, and then use my action. Well, one of two things, depending on what I can do with this action. Would I be able to use a mysticism check to figure out if smashing the orb would release Altronus?
Go ahead and make it. Yeah, let's see what you think.
19.
19. So you're pretty sure this is some kind of magical object, obviously. Looking at it, it looks like a globe that has a little house inside with a tree next to it. It's kind of festively decorated, but there's little fake snowflakes inside. So when you move it, it moves around, and there's water that holds all of that kind of suspended.
Yeah.
And then it has a base. So if you set it down, then everything would be right side up, and then all of the little fake snow would fall. And you shake it up again, it would do the same. So that's kind of what you get the idea it's for. You don't see Altronus, but it's really the only thing, unless it banished him to some other place. You feel like he's probably inside somewhere.
Yeah.
And as far as breaking it, I mean, it totally makes sense to you.
I mean, obviously. So you're either going to be lost to the ages and rejoin the void, or you're going to be back with us. We'll find out very quickly. I am going to try and smash this against the ground.
Before you smash it, do you have any dispel magic or anything like that?
I do not.
With that roll, you probably figured that if there was some way to dispel it, you could get rid of it. But yeah, smashing it seems like a good idea.
I mean, I looked earlier. I don't have any. I have detect, but I don't have dispel. I think that's a 3rd level spell. So
Go ahead and make a. If you have athletics, I'll even give you acrobatics. Roll one of those. If you don't, then just do a strength check.
oh shit. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear.
Fuck.
Wait. We can swear on this stream?
That's
The internet
fine by me,
rules.
right?
The
Okay, awesome. Well, that being said, I did get a 20. So
Natural 20?
Whoa!
yes, a natural 20 with
Nice.
a modifier of 0.
So with your
Nice.
natural 20, it does break. What, as the magic releases and Altronus reappears, what happens? What does that all look like?
I think that would look like a. So as it smashes against the ground, the snowflakes from inside the orb kind of scatter, and then they swirl up into a slight tornado type thing, and then out from that that little storm emerges Altronus. As for what he looks like, that's up to you.
I mean, he's
I told
holding like a cup of
Yep.
hot chocolate. That's the only thing I have to say.
He smells the smoke and is splattered in blood. Impish blood. He looks very calm.
Oh. And then I think that would be the entirety of my turn.
Okay.
Thank goodness we have you back. We were starting to look a little worse for wear there.
Have I not taught you well enough? We shall go through the routine again after we have sorted this thing.
I make a mental note to leave the station as soon as possible.
And with that, Grimwald turns and he looks at all of you and he's like, "You did this! You ruined Yule!" And he runs towards you and he has that birch switch in his hand and he tries to take a swipe at Keskadai. Does a 14 hit you?
No.
Okay. He jerks to the side as he takes the swing, which goes wide, and he kind of starts getting lifted off of his feet. What do you do, Keskadai? Looks like he's getting pulled towards the large horned creature behind you.
Yeah. I don't like him very much. But part of me feels a small amount of pity for him that he I don't know. I'm a little conflicted, but not much.
Oh, that's
And,
sad. Bye.
right? And I'll say to him with my telekinesis
Or telepathy, right?
my telekinesis, my telepathy. Yeah, well, my telekinesis is coming. I'll say to him, if you weren't such a jerk, we wouldn't be in this position. And then I'll hit him with another mind thrust.
Okay, so he gets a intelligence save. Is that what it was? Sorry,
Will save DC 17.
I think he might fail that one. Hang on one sec.
Uh-oh.
He misses it by 1.
Yeah, that's right. Oh crap! This is gonna hurt. 31 points of damage. Go back where you came from.
You notice, like, even though his eyes are black, like, a bit of goop kind of spurts out of one. As your mental assault just, like, scrambles his brain.
That's right. Take your freakiness with ya.
Is that all you're doing?
Pretty much.
Okay. So at the end of your turn, from behind you and everyone else can see from the large figure, you hear, "You've been very naughty." And Grimwald gets picked up and turned upside down, and he begins to be shooken like this, like a salt shaker. And all of these presents just seem to fall out of nowhere, like falling on the ground, and you hear some like smashing from things that were fragile and such.
Oh.
And once it's done,
I'll use my telekinetic hand to try and at least save some of them.
nice. Yeah, make a reflex save.
Yeah. That's gonna be a 21.
Nice. So using your telekinetic hand, you're kind of like doing one of those where they're catching like the thing on top of the next thing on top of the next thing, and you're just like, "Whoa." And you do pretty well. A couple things fall off. Altronus.
Well, the larger, hornier, hoofier critter from the what appears to be a portal behind it, right? There's a
Yep.
portal back there.
Yeah.
I'll take another sip of this hot mud water. Start to feel that sugar rush coming upon me. How far away is the taller, hornier, hoofier creature?
About 30 feet.
And he also has in hand, what's his face? The other dwarf, the other
More in chains.
mini goat man.
Yes.
More in chains. How far away is he from the ground?
Oh, 10 feet.
Excellent. I will approach. I am going to supernova. Boom!
Just so you know, Keskadai is right there as well.
I look down at Cascadai. I really kind of wanna. It's kind of canon. It's canon. I'm doing it.
It's
Boom!
canon. From all the source material, this is what happens.
Kaboom!
The source material being John's brain.
That's right. That's 9.
This is a
3,
con
2
save?
is 5, 14, reflex, 14, 18
right.
points of fire damage.
Ooh. What's the DC?
Boom! 13. It should be 13.
13.
Am I right? Yeah, it should be right. 13 for half.
Ow.
Ow.
I think I'm on the ground.
Don't worry, I'll save you. Boom!
So, like, presents fly everywhere. They're paper and ribbons scorching. His what little hair he has, because he's not like hairy like the other guy. He just kind of has like some white body fur, like ignites and flames off. Keskadai goes flying off, smoldering. The large furry creature just kind of like nods.
I nod back.
Naughty. Anything else?
Move, and that's an explosion. I think that's a standard action.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll go tend to or fall in combat here in a second. Right. Done.
Raya. Looks like the larger creature is getting ready to turn and walk back through the portal. It has Grumwald, who's fairly crispy, is hanging limply but is still alive in chains. Keskadai has been blown backwards in a smoking heap. All of the presents are smoldering or on fire. What do you do?
So obviously the most important thing to do right now is to take care of those presents. Make sure that they don't burn to no. So what I'm gonna do?
Not saying you're wrong.
Look, holiday cheer is all well and good, but people's lives are more important, in my opinion. I don't feel like that's anyway, I'm going to run up to my companion and try to administer a serum of healing.
Okay.
Because they're lying smoldering on the ground, and that is 1d8 HP that you regain. Would you like to roll it, or should I?
You can roll it.
You may regret this. It's a 5.
All right. Hey,
Could be
1
worse.
is better than what I had. So.
Yeah. So that would be my move. I believe that would be my action.
Yeah.
And since it looks like the large horned creature is running back walking slowly and menacingly back through that portal, I don't want to draw its ire any more than we already have. So I'm just gonna, ignore it for now.
Okay.
And comfort Keskadai.
So Keskadai, as you wake up, you hear this like what almost sounds like a reverse shattering. It's the same sound you heard earlier, but it's almost like it's getting sucked back into itself as the large horned creature steps through and drags a screaming Gremwald through. And then as that noise completes itself, that portal closes. What do you do?
Well, first, I'm thankful that I'm even alive at this point. Things could have been much worse.
You're welcome.
And to just preserve the group, I'm going to use Healing Channel as my full action to heal all allies, including myself, within 30 feet, 48 points.
Does that go
So
just to hit points or to your stamina points?
it says 48 hit points. So I don't know what else to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and heal myself and everyone I can.
Nice.
But if I still have all my hit points, that doesn't do anything, right?
I mean, I'll accept 3 of those HP that you heal.
I'm happy to lend you my excess. I've got stamina points for days. It's fine.
I rolled 20 hit points.
You know what I forgot to do is have the stormtroopers help the next round. Whew, they would have missed anyway.
Knowing our luck, we would have been hit by them. I'm glad you forgot.
Actually,
Well,
2 of them did roll ones in the first turn that they got there, so
Yeah, NPCs helping generally not the best bet in the world, in my book at least.
I would say after I sort of bolster my health a little bit and making sure everyone's okay, I want to take a look at some presents and see if they have names. And if so, perhaps we can make sure these make it back to the rightful owners.
yeah, all of them have these little tags on them that say to and from, and then there's like a name. Some of the names you're not really sure. They're like your schnookums or, from mom and dad or whatever. So it's kind of hard to tell, but like the name that it's to can usually help. And at this point, there's like people gathering around, and a lot of them are standing quite a ways off, but they're keeping an eye out, and stormtroopers are like reloading, and then they realize that there's nothing to shoot at. So one shoots anyway and misses everything. And what do you all do?
now that we have the presents, it is true that we now must defend the presents, for they are here to steal them, as is tradition in this holiday.
No. I think the tradition is to give away presents. I think the reason why Grimwald was so I think he was doing the wrong thing. I think he was stealing them when he was supposed to be giving them away.
He gave us bad information.
He did. He was a very naughty boy. And I think we should return these gifts as much as we can. Keskadai, you noticed the names on them, right? Are you able to pull up a list of people or that?
Well, I mean, if there's only first names, it's going to be a little hard. But we can always post these in sort of a lost and found sort of thing, and then
Well, I
see if
mean,
there's any way we can confirm whose they are, get them back.
if we have a copy of the reports that were filed for these stolen gifts, we can cross-reference the names fairly easily. I don't even think it would be that much of a trouble. So.
True.
Good
Very
job,
true.
Ryan.
Nice.
I am smart occasionally. As a player, my character is always smart.
Well, as the camera pulls back from this scene that's going on, and everyone's singing songs of Yuletide happiness and cheer, and then goes outside the station, I'd just like to say, this coming Wednesday, I believe, the 22nd, Monsters of Myth arrives for Pathfinder. You can pre-order the PDF right now. It'll be delivered to you on Wednesday. Just so you know, the mini Krampus creature that was in this in today's adventure appears in Monsters of Myth. If you want the original Krampus, the one who showed up, he's in this one, I think? Bestiary 2 or Bestiary 3 for Pathfinder 2nd edition. He's amazing. You weren't supposed to fight him, so good job. And no one, the viewers couldn't see this. You all could. I kind of was giving away. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Join us in 2 weeks for We Get to Play as we play something else that we never get to play.
And we will butcher that system just as badly as we did this one.
Pretty much. Our apologies go out to the people who wrote Starfinder and Paizo Publishing. And thanks for watching. Bye, everybody.